the Shy on Nico, and I really want to track how they play out these matchups, because can Rookie, who is typically very lane dominant, come out in a head in a matchup that is typically not favored towards him, and how dominant will the Shy be in the top 1v1?
Those are the questions that we have to ask. You turn off the nameplates, it's a very different story, but you never get that luxury when you play up against IG. Terrifying. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, our third game of the day. Team Liquid, 2-1 overall. IG's first game. Team Liquid could pass them up in the standings, or may just get taken down as IG look to find their third win. And I already love the confidence coming in. Vedius, you pointed it out while we were loading into the game. The IG Kaisa skin for double lift. Feels cheeky, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's double lift style, right? You got a little style, a little pizzazz. He said he was going to smash him yesterday in an interview with Shox, so we'll see if he's able to make good on that prediction. Another thing of note certainly is that it is press the attack for Shy, so this is going to be the on-hit style that you are expecting to come out, whether it's kind of the full AD on hit with Blade of the Rune King, Rage Blade, that sort of style remains to be seen. I have seen some kind of AP mixes.
Not standing in the bush. The whole team is stepping forward. The stun, though, not going to connect. Bit of a fumble there from Jensen. Not how you want to start the game, but neither side giving up too much.
Yeah, certainly a mistake there from Jensen. Not sure they would have really been able to get too much either way, but perhaps you could force a summoner. Either way, it is going to be that press the attack. And it is Klepto, which is an interesting choice for me from Impact, because generally you want to go more for things like Airy in these matchups to try to poke back and forth. Klepto is normally more favored when you are going up against melee matchups that you can consistently proc that off of.
So Impact clearly showing that he has the confidence to be willing to trade up against the Shy in the early laning phase. Remember that the thing about Nico is very early on, she often has a lot of power, but early levels it can be a little bit difficult. But once these items start to come through, that's where she really becomes this devastating force, especially once the Rage Blade and Blade of the Ruin King are completed. That is when this on-hit Nico is at its most terrifying.
Definitely is. And you can see that pull that is actually being done by Smithy is this kind of double camp hit where you're doing, and you start with the Hunter's Talisman, so you're actually proccing that lifesteal on all of these minions at once, and it does actually speed up that clear a decent amount. It's quite a healthy clear. As you can see, both camps dead. He has not really had to use any potions until just now, and he is going to be ahead of the curve compared to Ning.
And now he's going to move into the mid lane. Rookie has to be careful here. Jensen only level 1, but just immediately throws down the Shroud. Not going to get anything else there, but Smithy's still trying for it. Will now move down to contest the Scuttle Crab. You see a bit of action on the bottom side. Level 2 advantage for IG. They won't overextend, but poor JJ continues to try to force the trade. Surge line does connect. Good bit of damage. Now they'll be able to match level 2 back, but Ning already chasing down on Smithy. The Ghost has come out. The Smite as well, just trying to retreat. Smithy running for his life, trying to get the movement speed down. May not be enough. Smithy running. Could be first blood. IG hungry for it. They will grab it. Jackie Love getting first blood. Core JJ is next. 1-2. He's going to find another stack here. Ning will grab the kill. 2 fast kills picked up for the side of IG.
And that is disaster already here for Team Liquid. Giving over 2 kills and first blood to the vein this early on. Smithy, way overconfident, tried to pull off that level 2 gank with Shroud available for Rookie. Then he's able to easily be tracked down to that bottom scuttle and punished so much here by IG.
So one of the biggest mistakes that he's making is notice how in the mid lane, there's no priority for him. It's easier for the bot lane to move up through the river, so there's almost guaranteed to be a numbers advantage in favor of Invictus Gaming, meaning that they can all collapse onto a level 2 Hecarim who's only running the Ghost, and he ends up dropping that kill. So honestly, greedy play there from Smithy. He can't look to contest against a Rek'Sai early levels, and now IG lead with 2 very powerful early kills.
Yeah, and we talked about that power that Rek'Sai is already going to have over this Hecarim in the early stages. Now that is just going to get compounded. You can see double the camps have been taken by Ning. He has the kill and the assist to his name. He's going to be so much stronger. And this is back-to-back games where Smithy is getting outpaced in the early levels by his opposing jungler.
And on top of that, Jackie Love got the kill. So he comes back into lane with a red buff on a Vayne at the early levels, where in these 2 versus 2 expectations are that the Kai'Sa Norla should have the advantage, but Jackie Love now in a prime position to already be a big carry.
And Jackie Love, absolutely a terrifying threat on this team. We were wondering, how good is the Vayne going to do? Is it going to be a strong point for the team? But the team I think, very much successfully manages to find those first 2 kills, and it feels like on the back of a mistake from Xmithy, which is not at all where TL want to be in this early game.
Definitely not, but that is the respect you have to give over to IG. They're so good at punishing any sort of mistakes that do come out for their opponents. They're so quick at collapsing, so quick to be able to be moving towards these plays. And you can see already Impact losing those trades very heavily. He has less auto attack range than the Nico, so when she lands that root, she's trading onto him with him not being able to really give anything back.
The Shape Splitter passive just does so much damage when combined with the Press the Attack as well, and Impact, while he didn't take a combat sum, will recoup some of the gold loss in terms of CS discrepancy, but it's going to have a really hard time trading effectively at any stage. Xmithy, though, grabbing some camps, trying to catch up in levels, needs time to scale up, and it's been a very difficult day for Team Liquid and Xmithy especially.
Now, one of the things about this top lane matchup is you already talked about the range a little bit, Azael, where it can be difficult for Impact to be able to land these Klepto stacks by getting those autos in. The thing about Kennen is because he's also quite short range, every time he approaches the wave, the risk of him getting rooted up is very high. And you can see if the cool thing about Nico is when that E passes through the minions, once it reaches the end, the root duration gets increased, which means that you then have to stand there and take all these press the attack hits over and over again, and you just get bullied out of lane.
Yeah, Nico is essentially just going to charge up that passive hit, that third hit, which you can charge up on minions. Then every time that is active, you throw that over. But Jensen looking for an all-in.
Maybe he can be able to get it here, but Rookie just backing off. Jensen not confident enough to go for the dive. Jensen still with the flash available. Second stack on the Akali ultimate. Dashes forward, but will not catch Rookie. And good use of the level advantage and the XP advantage to threaten here, but definitely has to be careful. Ning will move to the bottom side and is spotted out, so he can at least feel safe for now.
So you're starting to see this mid lane matchup start to swing in favor of Jensen. Outside of the early level, Silas really starts to win out these trades with more sustain, more consistent DPS, and once you steal away that ulti, there is a serious threat of getting an all-in kill. So Rookie showing that respect and actually falling a little bit behind Jensen early on. Only 3 CS though, but definitely better than what Cap showed yesterday.
I mean, one of the big differences though, you know, between say this game and the game we saw earlier against G2 where Cap's got the massive advantage is Jensen was taking the Ignite. You know, now here we see Rookie with a teleport, so he's playing it more defensively. And also, there's no early game jungler on the side of TL to actually punish that, right? We saw how Jankos multiple times trying to dive the turret, pushing Jensen back, expanding that lead. That is not what is happening whatsoever. So while Jensen is laning well, Rookie is going to stabilize. You know, he has hit his Vamp Scepter, he's, you know, post level 6, and he hasn't really been put down too much. So he is going to have opportunities to kind of stick around and look to fight back in this matchup.
Definitely as Xmithy is trailing in jungle. XP still only level 5, needs to get the level 6 to come out. Ning, on the other hand, has his level 6 with the Conqueror. Can be a big threat to one of these lanes, but for now, with all 3 of his lanes pressing in for push advantages here. But Rookie has to be careful here. Getting caught out of the Shroud. Still fearless, though, despite that small discrepancy.
Yeah, and Rookie has ult where Jensen cannot steal it right now. You can see that cooldown bar around Rookie's character because Jensen already took that, so he has to wait for that to cool down before he can really look for any potential all-in. You won't win that if Kali has her ult and you do not.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Ning, no real surprise, hanging around the Shy so that he can play as aggressively as he likes to, and he's continuing to build up a pretty hefty advantage up towards the top side of the map. The one thing that we haven't really talked much about is, like, what are the main win conditions of these teams? We might not have time as Xmithy looks for it next.
Xmithy now running forward, has the ultimate available for the Hecker him. Started the devastating charge, but they do not want to push for anything else. Not confident to where Ning is.
Thought that Xmithy might use the ultimate there to perhaps force the flash out of Baolan, but Team Liquid choosing not to commit to that play. So instead, the state of the game will just return back to farming, stay relatively neutral. But I kind of want to go back to this idea of, like, what are the main win conditions of both these teams? And when we looked at Invictus Gaming, something that we talked about was they have strong side laners, they have pretty good scaling, but they do also actually have a surprising amount of team fight capability because of the combination of Nico's ultimate and the CC that it provides combined with the Galio. And when you have the amount of zone control that Akali's Shroud and utility can provide, I feel like that while IG will typically look to play towards the side lanes, they have a surprising amount of mid-game teamfight power that they can look to leverage.
Yeah, and so much of it just comes down to the execution, honestly, because if you're looking also over at the side of TL, oh, is Shy maybe getting caught out here?
It has to flash away.
Oh, they're going to go in on the bot lane now, too. The action not really stopping, but you know, Jensen is going to be able to steal away the Nico ult too, and you're going to have a counter Nico ult or perhaps a Kali ult there. You have the dive from the Hecarim as well as Impact. You have a lot of ways to actually, you know, pile in on top of someone like Jackie Love and try to threaten getting a kill there. So we'll see if they're going to be able to execute, but certainly IG if there's one team you're going to bet on to be able to really pull it off in a 5v5 and cleanly execute, it is them.
Absolutely the case. Now you see if they can find the tower dive as well. Ignite goes down immediately. They're finding the focus right in. Jackulov going to take down Double If. Ning going to go under and come back up, resetting the tower aggro beautifully. A clean dive thus far, but Jackulov knocked back under the tower. Smithy hunting for a kill, but no one is going down. Trading hours aggro again. They're going to go back for the dive. Ning grabbing yet another kill.
IG are just way too clean on that dive. The CC chain on Double If never even allowing him to get his ultimate off whatsoever. Look at all these low health bars. They're juggling the turret aggro absolutely perfectly here. One more time, Ning goes in. There is the condemn into the knockup. Double If gets locked down and just burst out so quickly there. Then resetting the turret aggro. Smithy a split second too late. If he had actually knocked back Jackulov when the turret was still on him, he could have got a kill, but then they reset the turret aggro, they re-engage, always cognizant of who that's going to be on.
And a lot of patience was shown by IG as well, because the moment Smithy joins the fray and uses his ultimate, not a single IG member hits him. They're all waiting for that fear duration to run off. They're just standing there waiting for everyone to be in position, and then they go for the third and final kill. So IG now lead 5-0. They have a monumental gold lead very early on into the game, and Team Liquid, one of their biggest win conditions of playing through bot, is falling apart.
Incredibly difficult early game for Team Liquid that, as you highlighted. The gold difference is absolutely massive, and it's only going to get harder as these items start to come through. Bits and pieces for Double If on the bottom side. Jackulov already with the completed Blade of the Rune King. On the top side, Nico farming comfortably and is only going to continue to threaten this Kennen.
And a lot of it really does come back to those early mistakes from Smithy, getting caught out. First blood going to Jackulov. Advantages there, both for Ning and the bot lane, and IG able to now snowball that to push that even further forward here. Has Jackulov at such a strong position in this game. Blade of the Rune King already completed, as you called out, means he can not only team fight, but he can actually potentially duel pretty much anyone on the side of TL right now.
And they're using that strength in the bot lane. They have pulled off the lane swap. They put Jackulov on the top side with Baolan. They're fighting for these turret plates, and the Shy still very strong, still very scary. Doesn't seem like an easy lane for TL to try and force a dive here, and they're just going to be forced in a situation where they trade tower plates back and forth.
And a very small thing, but a very cool thing that Rookie has been doing in this game is he prioritized lifesteal. On top of the fact that he's running fleet footwork and the teleport, basically means that he is doing as much as he can to constantly push the wave in and out-sustain the Sylas, which means that these short trades that Akali typically loses are actually going fairly even. So a lot of respect to Rookie to how well he can turn out unfavorable matchups and still find ways to come out ahead or even.
And while Rookie is even, the top side only going to continue to get worse and worse for the side of TL. Impact now forced out of lane as the Rift Herald will crash in before the tower plates are even down. More gold into the pockets of IG.
There is currently a 2,000 gold advantage in favor of Jackulov over his 80 carry counterpart, and it's going to get even bigger.
Over the wall, Rookie is here as well. Jensen now going to run for his life, trying to use the stolen call out, but here comes the Rek'Sai. The snare coming in as well. The combo is flawless. Core JJ now running for his life. Ning potentially in trouble, but Jackulov there over the wall. Impact may be able to get one back. He does manage to get the shutdown. Jackulov now trying to find the kill, but no mana left for him. Gonna have a hard time chasing here. The Bane pass is going to come in clutch. Rookie there to fall if they need it, but Impact will be able to make it out. Still, big advantage to IG.
Yeah, I mean, they knocked down the first turret. They are dominating in these fights. Impact just barely getting away as the Silverbolt passive actually expired while Jackulov was stunned up, so able to survive. Double If will at least trade back a turret here, but IG are looking very, very dominant in this game, and it's going to take something special, it feels like, for TL to be able to claw this one back. They have to start looking for odd man fights where they have multiple members in one spot. They're trying to pick someone off because an even fight is basically impossible.
And the small bright side for Team Liquid after that exchange was they got the shutdown kill onto Ning, whereas IG only got a kill onto Jensen, who hadn't really had any kind of advantages. So a small bit of gold goes back into the pockets of Team Liquid. But that might change as, oh no, does he get back?
On the hunt. He sees that Invictus Gaming skin. He wants a bit of revenge. Double If now running for his life. Rookie going to use the Shroud to press forward.
Not going to overcommit.
Back off.
Good respect being shown there by Rookie. He doesn't have the ultimate, so he chooses not to tower dive.
Yeah, exactly. So that is the key thing there. Dragon coming back up. IG likely will want to try to set up and take this. No reason not to. They're at such an advantage, even though the ocean isn't critical at this point in the game. It is good even to just kind of get the next dragon spawning, keep that rolling, see if they can dig up something like a mountain or an infernal to help extend their advantage even further. And I don't think that TL really has any opportunity to actually try to challenge for this.
We are also seeing a small pivot in the Nico build, where she's actually heading towards what looks like a Wit's End first. And against the amount of AP damage on the side of Team Liquid, I actually quite like this because it still synergizes with her build, adding that extra on-hit magic damage.
Yeah, and anytime you're going to be in a side lane, no matter which solo laner is actually answering you, it will be magic damage. It's going to be Sylas or it's going to be this Kennen. And the Wit's End is so incredibly gold efficient as you get to the later stages of the game. You know, even at like level 10 or 11 where he is, it becomes even more gold efficient than things like an IE without even taking into consideration the on-hit lifesteal that is there. So this is a very, very effective item.
Now we see the final tower going to be going down in mid lane. Of course, one more on the bottom side for TL. Only one traded back. Maybe Double Lift can even up the tower score, but you can see the difference in plates. 10-5. IG exerting so much of that lane pressure, taking so much control in this game.
I do think this is smart, though, from TL. There's no point in actually grouping and matching. They're trying to basically go with these guerrilla tactics where they're trading objectives on opposite sides of the map and trying to slowly claw their way in. Doublelift will be picking up gold here. I mean, he has this Rage Blade, is going to be working towards an IE, which is a very high DPS build. But we'll see if they can actually hang on, because IG are great at forcing fights.
And to be fair, Team Liquid are doing what they can to funnel gold into Doublelift. What was a 2,000 gold difference between the 280 carries has now been made smaller into about a 1,000 gold difference. So if they can keep this up, there's still that potential win condition.
Jensen in trouble now, has to run for his life. The Ignite already going down. Jackie Love just going to grab the kill there. Fumble from Jensen in the mid lane.
Yeah, he just kind of ran it down.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest. Not really much explanation for that. He kind of just walked up. I do believe that he knew Jackie Love was there.
Impact no, now the one in trouble. Galliol coming in. Impact locked up. The CC is flawless, and he's going to get taken out as well.
Clean stuff there from Invictus Gaming as they continue to punish these small missteps from the side of Team Liquid. Ning, level 10 on the Rex side, 3-1 and 4. Comboed the knockup with the Galio ulti. They gave the kill over to the Shy, who, that was his first kill of the game. He wanted to feel involved as the rest of the team is snowballing across the map.
Yeah, they definitely are. And IG are just looking so dominant. This team's solo laners have been looking heads and shoulders above the rest so far this tournament, and they're continuing their dominant run, now looking for an engage.
Flash forward, now the counter engage. Core JJ trying to find something. They pulled back. Jackie Love in the midst of the team, but it's only Core JJ there. Now Doublelift leaps in. That's the shutdown. That's going to be a big deal. TL, can they extend the play? Rookie, though, on the top side, looking for the 1v1 outplay. Going to pull back into the Shroud, just barely able to make it out on the back of that one, but he does take down Jensen.
Beautiful stuff from Rookie getting the outplay, but a bigger fact is that Team Liquid are able to at least find themselves a single kill onto Jackie Love. They get a lot more gold into the pockets of Doublelift. They alleviate some of the pressure that IG is applying onto them, and they might even convert this into a tier 1 in mid lane.
I mean, that was a huge shutdown, but now they have Rookie TPing in here. IG want to look to punish.
Battleland on the way in as well. Ning fishing for something. Core JJ incredibly low. Going to try to use his taxi to make it out to safety, but Doublelift taking down Ning. Rookie in the Shroud, buying a bit of time. Immediately goes in and goes out. Stealth trying to make it back to safety, but gives up his life. Double kill going over to Doublelift.
IG getting way too aggressive there. I mean, they TP in Rookie, but he's less than half health. He has no ultimate available, and Doublelift picking up all of these kills. All of a sudden, there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for TL. There's a bit of hope growing for them with Doublelift getting all this gold.
And this is where we start to see the inconsistencies of Invictus Gaming, where they will go for almost any fight because often they believe they can just outplay their opponents. And how confident you have to be to teleport as an Akali with no ultimate against 3 members, no Galio ulti to assist. Like, Rookie was sitting here saying, I can make this happen, but the reality is, you couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen gave one to IG. Rookie gives us one back, you know. And he's like, okay, fair is fair. You ran down, I'll run down too.
They're not Pokemon cards. Don't trade them.
Well, I mean, are you watching the game? They do, apparently. So either way, Doublelift actually picking up Hurricane, you know, skipping the completion of the IE there, but that is a lot of attack speed. He likely has the E evolve already. And certainly IG still in very much control. They have 2 winning side lanes, but there is conceivably a way in which TL could team fight their way out of this deficit with a very strong Kai'Sa if they can keep him alive.
Yeah, Doublelift doing what Doublelift often has done for Team Liquid, and he is becoming the win condition for this team right now. What was a 2,000 gold difference is now actually a 300 gold advantage in favor of Doublelift. So he is in full form. He can be the carry. The question is the deficit too big for the rest of his members to be able to last long enough for him to carry a team fight?
But the sheer amount of CC on this team combined with the Runaans, you can see it. You can see the dream team fight where everything comes together, where all those plasma stacks and those Runaan bolts are hitting home, where TL could find a team fight win. But they are definitely not in a comfortable situation whatsoever.
I mean, it's certainly possible, and you have some hope. But that being said, this is not the PvP Flash Wolves game where IG is just going to say, okay, let's group 5 and let's fight every single time. They have two incredibly fed solo laners who are winning on both sides of the map, and IG don't even have to take a single team fight, theoretically, to close out this game. They can actually play side lanes, they can play to objectives, and that is what they are falling into. They certainly realize that they have made a couple mistakes, and now they're going to spread the map. They're going to look for those advantageous fights where they can take them, because Doublelift is the only strong member on their team. You can just avoid this guy.
And while he is strong, all he's done is equalize to Jackie Love, who is still a 4-1 and 2 Vayne, who's level 11, has 2 points in the ultimate, has 2 completed items. So it's not like Invictus Gaming have no ways to win out on team fights themselves. So it's still a dire situation for Team Liquid, but at least the game has not been a stomp, and they still have that potential avenue to come back into. My question then comes into what direction do Invictus Gaming now take? Because so far over the last few minutes, we've just seen them go for a lot of skirmishes, go for a lot of fights with which they've been punished. So how do they then look to try and siege? Will they look to play around the Baron? Will they just try and look for more skirmishes?
I think it's just going to be 1-3-1 and then rotate your Galio to a side lane to try to look for those kills. Because certainly you can bring Rookie to a side lane, and all of a sudden if Galio shows up, well, you can actually dive someone and kill them off in a 2v1 and look for those sorts of plays. They're establishing vision, certainly, and they will look to try to control that Baron area. And they do have pretty good turn and engage with the Galio ultimate, so we'll see if they're going to be able to find that. But for TL, you want to continue to keep this game slow. You want to try to even out some of these disadvantages and hopefully slowly claw your way back in. But you have to be so careful about what fights you take.
In a difficult spot once again for Xmithie to be in. The Rek'Sai, strongest point, one of the strongest points in the game, will fall off in theory in later team fights. Xmithie could scale up, but just isn't getting a lot of resources right now. They're putting everything into Doublelift, and it means he's going to be falling behind as we continue further in the game.
And IG are really good at stealing away your jungle camps when they're in these 1-3-1s. You'll see Shy and Rookie coming forward, taking away a camp here, taking away a camp there, and that is just going to kind of slow down Xmithie on this Hecarim quite a lot. One thing that is working for them, though, is as Jensen is getting higher and higher level, if he can reach the 16, there are some fantastic ults to steal. Notably, anytime you're playing against an on-hit Nico, your ultimate is so much more powerful because the AP ratio on that ultimate is just absurd. It's over a 1.0 ratio, so this AP Sylas can have the potential to have that dream fight where you're in the middle and you just get the one shot with that Nico ultimate.
And this is the thing, we're talking a lot from the perspective of Team Liquid of like that dream scenario, right? We're looking for that opportunity.
And that's because IG are dominating.
And I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, IG need to make this mistake again to allow IG to find this. And right now, they're just keeping the map divided. But the bright side for Team Liquid is, so far, no real pressure has been applied. While there's still good vision in favor of IG around the Baron, Team Liquid haven't been forced to face check it yet. They haven't been forced into a situation where this unfavorable fight or this small skirmish that IG want will actually happen.
I do think, though, now that Jackie Love has the QSS, that reduces the chance of him getting locked up and burst down so quickly in these fights, and they're going to try to start getting mid lane control very heavily. I do think you will start to see in the next 3 to 5 minutes, IG starting to threaten the Baron more heavily, starting to start it up, look to draw TL in, and that is where it starts to get so difficult for Team Liquid, because if you are pulled into that fight, especially without vision, you have very little chance of winning.
Yeah, and you've been talking a lot about vision, Azael, so I want to kind of draw attention to the vision that IG have set up. You can see Control Ward here, if I can actually click these things, Control Ward here, and Control Ward here. So they actually have full vision control over a lot of the entrances to the enemy jungle, meaning that it's getting harder and harder for Team Liquid to approach. They're slowly being suffocated out.
Yeah, with a Rage Blade, Blade of the Rune King Vayne, you can burst it down.
Coming over the wall, the Galio on the way in as well. They started to focus in on Jackie Love. Double up on the backside. wants to take out the enemy.
Oh,
He
he got
do so. Smithy there to back up, but now they need to retreat the Shy Zone. Incredibly Gone. Pop Blossom going to find two, but Impact fires back with an ulti of his own. No AP for the odd hit. Nico means no damage for the team.
Team Liquid are able to outplay that double lift with a beautiful fight, diving past the front line there onto Jackie Love. TL could actually start up the Baron here, and if you get the Baron, hope is starting to grow for Team Liquid. They are onto it, and they are looking to claw back in this game.
And we talk so much about how Team Liquid do have this team fight. They're waiting for the dream scenario. That was it, but Rookie is here, and Rookie is ready to save this game.
No ultimate, but they have to respect, and the Shroud is there. Double Lift stepping forward, has to be careful. Rookie does so much damage. Balon with a taunt. Impact already taken down. Rookie gonna try to clean up the rest of TL. The flash forward, the double for Rookie. Absolutely fearless here. TL have to take a step back.
And the problem now becomes TL go for this big fight. They have overreached. They lost 2 members. It can be an easy counter Baron potentially here for IG as their members have respawned. Bane running straight over in that direction. This may just result in an IG Baron, but here's the fight one more time and track Double Lift, how he actually plays this out to get forward, ulting through the fight onto Jackie Love.
He doesn't actually get knocked up by the Rek'Sai or the Galio ulti. He's very patient, and he ends up diving onto the backline, but huge props needs to be given to Rookie. Once again, with no ultimate, diving into 4 members, he is able to find this outplay and stop Team Liquid from securing that Baron. And remember, earlier we said he goes in for the 1v3, he makes it fail. But this guy, he's always so confident. He believes in his ability, and he demonstrates why he's a world-class mid laner.
Yeah, and Rookie was able to take that from TL getting the Baron, but they're actually looking for a fight here.
Trying to find the Shy. Have been able to take him out. They weren't sure if it was clone. They didn't need to have.
They found the Shy. Dracos.
One clone goes out, they picked the right one, and that's all it takes. Now Team Liquid potentially set to contest here, but after we saw what Rookie did earlier, you still have to give them a lot of respect.
It's still so tough. They're very far behind in the gold. They did grab an Infernal on the back end of that, which is going to help them out a bit, but
Core DJ managed to get Rookie. Impact now in the middle of the team, taunted up 4 now. They're buying a bit of time to knock the depth charges there. He's caught the Shroud and he's shut down. That might be the fight that Team Liquid need.
Yeah, Team Liquid fighting back. That is now the Baron buff off both the solos. They're not going to really be able to get more than that, but that alone takes a lot of the power out of this Baron buff from IG, and Team Liquid are finding ways to stay alive in this game. I mean, IG has all the tools they need with that Baron buff and a 7k lead, you feel like, to close it out, but TL are finding engages. They're not sitting back. They're playing to win.
It feels like many jokes have been made about North America during the spitter out that they just group mid and fight. Well, you know what? That strategy is working right now because Invictus Gaming is getting bought into it. They have this 1-3-1 style, they have a Baron, and they are just grouping up and willing to fight this Team Liquid squad who have the Kennen ultimate, the Silas ultimate that can steal things away from the Shy. They have Double Lift who's performing out of his mind right now, and they are clawing this gold gap back.
And now Ning is the one in trouble. The ultimate's going to come in from the Galio, but not nearly a big enough threat. The Shy, though, now walking forward. They're going to look for the taunt. Can they land it up? Ning's still alive. They've taken out Smithy. They may just look for impact, but Double Lift has found Jackie Love once again. He's unstoppable. Can they turn the fight back? Ultimate still up and available for Double Lift. Impact, no ult for him. And IG will just back away.
And so this time around, IG tried to find that small skirmish, but Jackie Love was out of position. And every single time IG tried to make a play in some way or fashion, they end up getting punished. And even though this team is 6,000 gold ahead, it doesn't feel like it.
No, it definitely hasn't just yet. Still, though, they are looking for the fight here. TL.
Ultimate stolen. Galio ult is up and available for Jensen. He's going to leap into the middle of the team. Balan may just get caught up. The knock is there. Double Lift finding one. The Shy now has to be careful. Rookie on the backside, though. Got to keep an eye on him. Pop Boston used. Have to back away, have to respect Rookie, but TL not getting over-aggressive here. Happy with the single kill.
Double Lift is putting the weight of North America on his back, and he is thriving under the pressure. 6-1-4, been involved in 10 of the 11 kills, and what was a terrible start for the bot lane of Team Liquid is now turning heavily in their favor.
Yeah, and here's the fight one more time as they do find Ning. They look to try to go in on him, but Impact no ultimate available. The Galio ultimate comes through from Baolan, and they do go forward onto Smithy to get this kill, but at the same time, Jackie Love caught out on the side, and TL are utilizing all their hard engage so effectively between the Hecarim, the Nautilus, even the Silas chains, being very, very effective.
And Rookie was nowhere to be seen. He didn't have the teleport available. He was nowhere near the fight, and it feels like the coordination from IG is starting to fall apart. the fact that we already talked about earlier that they're constantly grouping up, constantly trying to fight Team Liquid is exactly the kind of situation that Liquid want to find themselves in, and more gold is going into Double Lift. Jensen on this Sylas is only continuing to scale up. He's now hit that level 15 mark, and Azale, you were talking about it earlier, level 16 is really where this Sylas kicks into gear.
Yeah, because not only is there the incredible Pop Blossom to actually steal, you know, that ultimate from Nico, there's the Akali ultimate, which is very effective. There's Engage ultimates as well, and Smithy now threatening to look forward here on a Jackula, but that would be a dangerous play. TL that want this mid lane turret.
Galioton's gone, and that's the key to kick things off. Baolon just going to back off, force the flash away. Both sides can retreat. You can see the Zeke's convergence. Core JJ knows where the team's damage is, putting everything into Double Lift.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly hard for IG to split the map when they're trying to 1-3-1. TL is just walking up and saying, great, we'll group 5, we will Nautilus ult, we will force you to fight, and they're not backing down from IG. Double Lift now, 4 completed major items plus the boots. They have the potential, and it's starting to feel more real and real, as the gold lead really hasn't changed in the last 15 minutes.
The thing about these split push comps, right, especially with a Nico who really spikes at 2 items, is that they're at their strongest when they had that early game advantage. You know, around that 20-minute mark, when they could just threaten these side lanes, is when they had so much pressure, and they needed to be moving between them. Instead, they looked for fights, they looked for skirmishes, and a lot of those skirmishes went even. This is where Team Liquid started to come back into the game, and what TL are actually doing very well is they're pushing out their side waves, grouping up mid, and then when IG are catching them, that's when they're looking to try and force a dive, force a fight, and that's when they're catching IG off guard. And if they can keep doing this, then TL can claw their way back into the game, and they can claw this gold deficit back.
And they've already started to. So many members who were absolutely out of the game now have a few items under their belt. Baron 1 minute away. You'll know better than to fight for that tier 2, saving their cooldowns for the next big fight. Baron Pit might just be that arena. Of course, sustained damage. You look at the Nico, you look at the Vayne, IG definitely have the edge, but in a burst team fight, Team Liquid's composition is just so incredibly powerful, and you can see when Double is allowed to free roam through these team fights, when he is uncontested dealing this kind of damage, it's impossible for IG to win.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting out so much damage, and all 4 of the other members on the team also apply crowd control, which means stacks of plasma are also getting applied, adding additional passive damage coming through from this Kai'Sa, so that certainly is a very strong part of this. And despite the fact that Jackula had this great early start to the game, he has not been performing in the team fights. He has been caught out and knocked down multiple times. But that being said, IG still from this position, one well-executed team fight, and it all can be for naught from TL. They can get burst out. If Double Lift falls early in a fight, IG likely just can end.
The reality is this game is going to come down to Rookie versus Double Lift. Can Rookie successfully execute the soul carry on the side of Team Liquid, whereas can Team Liquid protect their carry in Double Lift? Can they enable him to dish out the damage that he has built himself up for? Because if either one succeeds, then that will be the one that determines the team fight.
It's certainly the case, and for Double Lift, it's been years and years of regional dominance in North America, now the winningest player in the NALCS, in now the LCS, and he has still yet to make it out of groups internationally. Last year, individually, many people started to praise his individual play, saying he had really stepped up to the table, but feeling perhaps the rest of the team wasn't up to the task. And now this year, the revamped Team Liquid are here. They have Core JJ and Jensen. The pieces are in place for them to have a better performance, and they are trying to prove themselves on that international stage.
For TL fans out there, if they can find a win here, would be massive, not just for their host, but also for the game as a whole. Baolang going to step forward and body tank there. Jackula now caught out on the side by the depth charge, but Rookie is in the midst of the fight. They have to be careful. Double trying to make it as if he do the QSS, but Rookie got the kill. That's going to be it. It's going to be a clean sweep for IG as they cut through the remaining members of Liquid. Jensen running for his life, but there is nothing left. Jackula getting the double.
And this time round, Invictus Gaming find the fight that they were looking for. We said it was going to be a battle between Rookie and Double Lift, and unfortunately for Team Liquid, Rookie won that battle. A clean execution. 4 members are dead. Invictus Gaming are looking for the win.
Yeah, just like that, it should be over. TL hanging on for so long, but not able to stay in this. We'll see if Double Lift can respawn. IG's just trying to style on them. I mean, they're diving the Nexus without the inhibitor dead.
Have to back away, but of course, with Nico and Vayne still alive and well, it's going to be easy to tear through these towers. In fact, trying to buy time, though, throws out the ultimate. Core JJ on the way in, but it's one member at a time. Not going to be enough left for them. Poor JJ's going to die. If Doublelift runs forward, maybe they can get something. Smithy now stepping into the team. Rookie's still alive and well. They're trying to get something. It's an exposed Nexus, but it is not going to be enough. Doublelift forced to retreat. The Shy just continuing to try and style. They will take down Rookie, but Baolan and Jackie Love realize their time is running out and instead will turn to focus the Nexus, but turn right back to Doublelift. They see the kills in their sights. IG styling on Team Liquid.
Yeah, the classic IGN there, going for the kills, running past the turrets to try to pick up some more. Still, a well-fought battle there by Team Liquid, but IG were in control start to finish. Their side lanes were always the ones dominating. They got some strong early advantages, and that was enough when TL made that mistake to crush them in the team fight and close it out.
And we kept thinking, maybe one more fight just like that, Liquid. One more fight just like that. Maybe they can come back into this game. But the thing that you always said in the background was, all it takes is one clean fight from IG. Every single time.
One clean fight from Rookie. Like, we set up that narrative around Rookie versus Doublelift, and he was the big carry in that last moment. And honestly, like, I feel that in the final moments, it was just Team Liquid saw an opportunity to fight, but then the execution just wasn't quite there. They flash hooked onto the Galio of all people. The threat wasn't onto the backline, and Impact was actually off in the river, so he wasn't even able to contribute. And I felt like that the coordination in that final moment wasn't quite there for Team Liquid, and Invictus Gaming, classic Invictus Gaming style, punished that the moment they see an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly really well played by Baolan. I do think he was trying to get onto the Vayne or onto a carry there with that flash hook, but Baolan steps forward, absorbs it, has the taunt channeled, and it all went bad from there. They're piling in on Doublelift, and he just got erased.
Good things from TL to be sure, but IG at the end of the day still looking like the strongest team in the tournament. And for more on their victory, let's get a breakdown from the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Dracos. It almost slipped away from them after a very solid start for IG, but they are able to find the fight there in the late game to wrap it up, put a nice little bow on it, and snag the victory overall. For TL fans, that one's going to sting a little bit because, as Azale and the casters were mentioning there in that mid-game, the reality of maybe a comeback victory was becoming more and more real, and then it falls away.
It's when you watch those games as a fan, you obviously get really excited in the mid game because you feel like there's a chance to come back. And then when they end up losing, you just start getting mad at the early game.
Right.
Why did we fall so far behind? You know, what happened? We could clearly match them later. If we just didn't fall that far behind, maybe it could have gone different. But I feel like we've seen these kind of games over the last 3 or 4 years so many times.
And the reality is, like, in a situation like that, you can go back, you can rewind it, you could say, like, oh, why didn't you do, like, this macro decision instead of going towards the Baron? And it's like, you just got hyped. You just won a team fight, you were behind, you were on the back foot, and suddenly you won something. Of course, you're going to be like, Baron, 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 Baron. Everyone's been in that situation.
So instead, let's go back to that early game Deficio, as we always do, and identify where things went so wrong for TL, and they went wrong rather early in the game. McSmithy with some questionable pathing from the get-go here to give up a double kill.
This is his normal start. He wants to do an Hecarim, where he then wants to rush down to try and get the risk roll on bot side. But Ning reads this, so he's already on bottom side now, taking blue buff. And if you look at the bottom lane, what's important here is how level 2 comes in from IG, and they start getting control in the lane. So Smithy can't go into the river. He doesn't have flash. And now, if he's in the river and he gets caught out, the enemy bot lane can move first to catch him. And that's exactly what happens here. So he mega gambled in the early game for a risk scuttler.
It all comes down to communication. If he had knew, or at least had eyes on the fact that these adjacent lanes aren't pushing out, he immediately can go towards his own crud, right? Or he can go top side. There are a lot of options you have there based off of just the few information that he didn't look for.
Yeah, Rookie roamed as well, so like there was no control in his lanes around, and he just wanted risk scuttler so badly. He was praying that Ning was not going to be there, but Ning, he was ready for it, and that's the kind of gamble where if it works as a jungler, you're like, great, I got this one. I can now go back to power farm, and we don't talk about the early game at all of a sudden. And when it then backfires, we look straight at the jungler and say, what happened there? Why did you do that? Now Hecarim is behind. It's useless. Everything has gone wrong.
And unfortunately, I've got enough tape now of kind of like this Hecarim jungle pick, especially for TL right now, and I just don't like it. I think it demands way too many resources, it demands too much gold, and you're just not getting to those power points that you would see something like a top lane Hecarim. And when you're playing a jungler that is so reliant on level 6, it just slows down the game pace so much. So I hope that TL, they kind of like go back to the books and they think, let's actually play this a bit faster, and we start to see more of those Lee Sin games or just more carry-oriented junglers, Rek'Sai included, from TL versus these scaling picks.
Because we had this this discussion earlier in Countdown regarding TL and the ability to adapt to the early game style. Now that they're not playing Flash Wolves in PvP, but they're playing G2 and IG, but you have to be more active in the early game. But we haven't seen the adaptation. It's the Sejuani, it's the Hecarim jungle. They can't do anything early against things like a Rexar and Olaf that we saw earlier. So Ning had a free game early on, and he was a huge part of IG just getting so many early kills.
And frankly, I'm going to start hitting like the panic button or just like waving the white flag for TL if we don't see that adaptation. I think it's almost acceptable here because they were able to kind of skate through to this point trying to play their style. But now that you had two of the fast teams, G2 and IG, on the same day, if the next time that you face these teams and there is no adaptation, then I'm getting on Twitter, I'm hitting the caps lock, I'm like, what is happening right now? But for now, I'm like, just test it. See if your style works on the day. You played them basically back to back. But now that you know that it wasn't fast enough, maybe go back to the drawing board.
My thing ultimately is, play your composition. And so for me, I'm fine with the Hecarim pick as long as they... it was such an early mistake and such a weird mistake to make from a jungler like Xmithie that I'm like, oh, he wouldn't make that mistake again. But the fact that he does against a team that you have faith that they could at least have early game damage, right? In the style in which they've been succeeding against so many teams in the past, that they could be able to have that at least trade. If you know on the bottom side of the map, you won't have pressure. But it's these kind of mistakes that make you second guess everything. And I'm saying don't. Especially when you have games like later today or tomorrow, that Team Liquid could just go back and say, well, we still believe in our style as long as we can brush up on these small errors.
Yeah, and the reason we focus on specific jungle right now is not just because Xmithie is not finding the impact he wants, but also because other players need his help. We can just look at the last team fight here. CoreJJ shows why late game Nautilus support can really feel bad. Because when you are engaging and you want to hit the carry flashes out, you're still going in there and you're just going to die.
On the other side, though, we kept saying this over the course of the game. Why aren't Invictus Gaming actually playing towards their side lanes, especially when the Shy felt like he was so confident? And yeah, they win the 5v5 there because it was a bit of a mismatched engage tool there from CoreJJ. But that was also a game where you can take takeaways for kind of the how not infallible IG are. Now we've seen them in PvB and TL that they will bite, and sometimes they bite off way more than they can chew.
Luckily in this game, because of the early game, they did have a big enough advantage to lose a few fights here and there and still stay in it. Rookie had a great play around Baron as well. But I just want to quickly go back to the Xmithie Jensen point.
Yes.
Because what's happening around the mid lane is Jensen today against Caps and Rookie was not able to have the same impact we saw yesterday. So he's going to rely on his jungler a lot to assist him if they want to get something going in the mid lane. But they can't when they go with Sejuani and Hecarim. So TL needs to decide, what do we want to play in the mid-jungle setup that can actually give us an advantage instead of a disadvantage against teams like IG and G2 if they want to start beating these teams?
Yeah, well, you saw there on your screens, Rookie, while IG might not feel infallible, or rather, yes, might not feel infallible. Rookie sure as heck does not, picking up MasterCard Player of the Game for his Akali performance that time around. Really impressing so far in this tournament. For TL, started out hot with the 2-0 against the two teams below them. Just took 2 losses here on the second day of groups. So we're going to have to see how they stomach that moving forward in the group stage. After the break, though, hometown favorites Fongfu Buffalo fight for their first win in groups against Korea's SKT. We'll see you here in a few minutes.
See if they can find the tower dive as well. Ignite goes down immediately. They're finding the focus right in. Jackulov going to take down Double Up. Ning going to go under and come back up, resetting the tower aggro beautifully. A clean dive thus far, but Jackulov knocked back under the tower. Xmithie hunting for a kill, but no one is going down. Trading hours aggro again. They're going to go back for the dive. Or JJ incredibly low. Going to try to use this as a taxi to make it out to safety, but Double Up taking down Ning. Rookie in the shroud, buying a bit of time. Immediately goes in and goes out. Stealth trying to make it back to safety, but gives up his life. Double kill. Galio on the way in as well. They've started to focus in on Jackulov. Double Up on the backside wants to take out the enemy.
Oh, he got him.
Do so. Xmithie there to back up, but now they need to retreat. The Shy so incredibly gone. Pop Blossom going to find 2, but Impact fires back with an ulti of his own. Now going to step forward and body tank their Jackulov. Now caught out on the side by the depth charge. The Rookie is in the midst of the fight. They have to be
Welcome back, everyone, to MSI 2019, where I'm joined by the Shy. IG is currently 3-0 in the group stage of MSI, and expectations were, of course, very high for you guys coming into this tournament. What do you think of your level compared to the other teams so far?
네, 지금 3승 0패 달성하셨는데 IG에 대한 기대감이 정말 높습니다. MSI에서. 그럼 다른 팀들과 비교했을 때 IG가 어떻다고 생각하시나요?
좀 라인전이나 좀 피지컬적인 레벨은 저희가 앞서는 것 같고 팀적인 커뮤니케이션이나 그런 움직임은 다른 팀이랑 비슷하거나 조금 더 낮을 수 있다 생각해요.
So in terms of laning phase or mechanics, I think we surpass other teams. But in terms of teamwork or grouping up or communication, I think we are same or weaker than them. So I think we have to improve those things.
Individually, mechanically, you guys are really amazing. Is there anyone you think can give you any competition in the top lane this tournament?
그럼 탑에서 조금 경계되거나 좀 같이 좀 잘 싸울 수 있는 선수가 있을까요?
저는 항상 생각하는데 누구나 저를 이길 수 있고 누구나 제가 이길 수 있다 생각해가지고 그냥 항상 편한 마음으로 생각하고 있어요.
Well, I always say this. I mean, everyone can beat me and I can beat everyone. So I'm always relaxed in terms of going into top lane competition.
Okay, final question. You're going up against SKT later, which is such a hype matchup in the LCK versus LPL battle. What are your expectations for that game?
네, 다음 상대는 SKT인데 아무래도 LCK 대 LPL 대 SK니까 좀 기대감이 많이 높습니다. 어떻게 예상하시나요?
SKT랑 두 판 하게 되는데 지금 한 판이 곧 준비돼 있는데 좀 걱정이 되긴 하는데 그래도 잘할 수 있을 거라 생각하고 크게 걱정 안 하고 있어요.
Well, we have to face them 2 times and the first one is coming up and I'm a little bit worried, but I think I can do well, so I'm not that too worried.
Okay, a little bit worried, but seems fine anyway. Thank you very much, Yusun. Thank you, The Shy. IG is 3-0 so far. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Welcome back for more MSI 2019. I am David Freak Turley, fully equipped with Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and Chris Papa Smithy Smith. And we're going to be bringing you Game 4. It's SKT versus Fong Vu Buffalo.
And I think it's a game that could shape up to be very interesting, especially seeing SKT for the first time today and working out what did they take from yesterday, because they took away 1 win, 1 loss, clearly were exposed by the pace of the game where G2 Esports kind of just blew through them in a clean 25-minute win. And yes, we saw some adaptation on the day, but they've gotten 1 night's sleep. They've gotten a little bit more time to regroup. What SKT will we see take the rift against PvP?
Yeah, I think it's actually quite interesting since SK Telecom's last match was against Flash Wolves, and we just today saw Fong Vu Buffalo against the same opponent. Now, SKT's adjustment that you're referring to is up in that top lane. They camped for Khan a little bit more. Klid was very active in the early game, got the Lee Sin again, and today, kind of surprising, Fong Vu Buffalo changed their early game a little bit themselves.
And Klid, nice that you mention him, actually in an interview after their win, said very pointedly, well, we feel like we didn't draft enough priority in our first game against G2, and that's the adaptation we made. And yes, that's a good start, but it feels like to actually win consistently against the top teams at MSI, you need more than that. Will we see more from SKT in this game?
Well, we've got Fong Vu Buffalo here on the red side. 0-3 to start out. They have been fairly competitive in a lot of their games. I think back to their day 1 game against Invictus Gaming. They had a gold lead, something like 30 minutes in. They could play these top teams closely, but never able to close it out. SKT, it's their first game of the day. Maybe they're cold. Maybe they didn't learn quite as much as you wanted to from day 1. And this is a chance for PvP to strike and maybe get that first win.
Yeah, I think people definitely want to see the PvP that we saw versus Invictus Gaming. Going for those kills, not being afraid to dive to create these plays. A lot of that does start with solo lane or flex picks. Rise and Aurelia are actually the first 2 off the bat here. Akali still very much available.
And when we saw SKT last, it was on the blue side, it was the first first pick rise. It fell into play.
Now we're going to see one final battle. You can handle this, or his most favorite.
And Klid's improvement in the build.
And absolutely Kobe with the usually give it to Rek'Sai when it comes to
a strong duo, but with only a
think a Braum lane potentially
For SK Telecom. This will of the team for this turn.
in 2v2 tool. So we might
games. I do want to point out Shuhao's at least did pretty well overall. Big
and tussle between blind picks and viable blind pick top laner.
So heavily from both of their
more and more these champions push. Down and down and
safe blind picks here. Azir, for example.
I actually really like the combination of
one of the top laners left up and is probably inning phases, something like a plus 10 to 15 damage.
But on the side, playoffs Zeros versus Khan.
Like the matchup, most of Hecarim's tools that are laners are numerous in Vietnam. He's earlier. You got aggressive early junglers and an
He doesn't help you killing 280 carries.
because they will have the advantage in that all-in.
Telecom T1, the champion. Invictus later on. SKT can
Have a lot of internal consistency to overlap, and that's what I love when it comes to competitive League of Legends, when you can read what one team wants to do and the enemy team.
right here. The actual early trades
Who chases both of them out of the...
It's being Ezreal Tom against Zyra Khan. Upside does potentially...
Fog of War. I don't believe any of these starts were actually...
Top side here, Zeros going for the... doesn't... have any way
where his threat range is, but that's the...
Ford helps, and looks like Clit is going to get...
Because of the fact that her double scuttle by Clit.
Yeah, Clit, respect the fact that Ignite could be available, and of course...
You can see Elise there trying to hold the cocoon burn is Mata.
That pick up the dregs of her Krug. Controller went down, but you see Combo could not get out unless Zeros gives him the low 100 each.
But he's got to watch out for the poor blinking health bars, but
the only thing the Fiora has to worry long enough, and so Lid can answer with his own flash.
And he does so much burst damage. Remember, this is Hail of Blades on the Rex. I've seen much more Conqueror recently. It means the front-ended burst is enough, and Zeros, the minion aggro, takes him down.
We already know the Korean teams are good about managing their minion waves. Normally not in the PvP combat, but looks like it works pretty well for them here as well. And it's a 1,000 gold lead now for SKT. Mata's flash was burned 3 minutes ago. It's most of the way back up now, and if there is no further punishment on that cooldown, maybe that first gank was all for naught, as we did against C-Clid. Take a camp and a half away in that jungle matchup, pushing a bit towards SKT here.
Very easily itemized, the Ninja Tabi. Again, the very early trades are very comfortable for him, and now with Onslaught of Shadows available, a lot of threat top side, but Clid's actually bot side.
BB's on a ward as well, a good knockup towards one. Plenty of CC coming in, Pallet just barely staying alive, just back to his teammate. Over the wall goes Rek'Sai, but Clid's a bit alone on this one. Still the Blast Cone out. PvP slinking away with their lives. Looks like health bar lead goes to the Koreans.
Yeah, I mean, that was some fancy moves, but also the summoner spell advantage, very big for the Koreans. All these bottom lane summoners were blown in that exchange. Clid then able to retreat to the dragon, and Ocean Drake here will go such a long way in helping out this laning phase.
Martha gets the interrupt on the Elise back. Elise not in any position to come and contest. It will be Ocean Drake first spawn. A pretty high value Ocean Drake, given that Corki, Hecarim, and Ezreal are all going to be spamming their spells to get lane control. Also notice the timer here. So first Drake around 7 minutes. Around 10 minutes, one other way you can attack Fiora is to go look for a lane swap and potentially look for Rift Herald and top turret damage, and to try to keep the Fiora down when the Drake is not there as a counter objective on bot side.
And especially since, in addition to this Ocean Drake, the early kill on top side meant Ninja Tabbies, plus Biscuits, plus Corrupting Potion sustain. This Hecarim doesn't have that much to worry about here until Zero starts to get some more DPS items. So Khan feeling very good about the way the early game has gone.
It's one of those rare games where helping the Hecarim get babied through what will be a tough laning phase might be more valuable than what an Infernal Drake brings in the late game. Just giving more now for a matchup that can only go one way. 3 Infernals, doesn't matter, still Fiora would get a lead over a Hecarim. It is nice to give him just a bit more staying power in the first 15 minutes.
Meanwhile, Faker also gets the blue buff in addition to the Ocean Drake regeneration for the Corki here, so he can continue to spam out. We all know the DPS that Corki can scale up to. We'll see if Bong Blue Buffalo can make some more offensive plays. We alluded to the fact that the Elise plus LeBlanc can try and combine to create some very scary combinations, but we haven't seen any sort of action towards the mid lane.
And I'm intrigued to see how much greed can come into the item buy. Obviously, you don't want to go Hex Drinker wherever possible as Corki. You want to mainline your big items, Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, a Zeal item. But because it's Elise and also LeBlanc, does he go try to really play around things and just sit on the Negatron, or does he have to go further than the Null Magic Man?
Can't wait to see. Of course, that could turn into a Cal, which seems incredibly unlikely, but it could just be that 25 MR into the Trinity Force that you expect out of the champion. We'll wait to see that one come out a little bit later on. Now we've got a fight towards that top side as Clid looks for when the knock will come in, does not get her posted. Plenty of damage comes out here, and that even immune the turret shot. That's going to be a great dive. 1 for 0 again, top side. top has been a great camp, and Clid coming out on top every time.
Yeah, and even with that one, very close health bars. Here goes Elise towards mid.
Well, extra MR's going to help a little bit, but the red buff is on. If Shuhao can get into range, looking for this one, repels forward. So he's going to auto attack, but over the wall goes Faker, and he's going to stay alive, running both summoners. Now into the bottom side as well, looking for that root. Not going to find much of anything. Just damage towards Teddy, and he can't quite get that kill as Ignite times out, and Matza keeps running, puts on the shield, and PvP cannot buy a kill.
Yeah, we're fighting all over the map. It's inches keeping people away. Khan and Zeros, of course. They're going to continue brawling.
Yeah, another vital land. Ignite comes in as well. Riposte again. It's like gets the fear afterwards, and it forces the flash out of Zero, so they know Clid can't ult back in. Just gets it now, though. This is pretty good damage, but he's under the turret once again. Stays alive with the healing. Not going to go for another Q right there, and Zeros will survive this fight.
All 3 lanes of action here, and again, they bring us back to the beginning where it all started topside to burn both summoners of the Fiora after the fact.
It's another one of those games where Clid is using his Rek'Sai ult off cooldown, it feels like, being all over the map. 100% kill participation, 2 kills to his name. A faster Black Cleaver can't hurt. We're going to get a replay onto one of these turret dots.
Yeah, look how close this actually was. So Clid does get the initial knockup. Khan saves the burst damage for after the riposte, which is essential. Then, as he comes out of the Rek'Sai ultimate, do have Khan in tower range, able to take that turret shot, so they're able to pull that one off. Early executioners picked up for him as well. The war of attrition will be won. They have so much sustain that we've been going over. Plus, that is going to help very, very... Oh, there we go. Another tower dive.
He's got the package. Riposte comes in time, but won't find a stun. He gets off to the side anyway. At least immunes the dive, but this is how much pressure there is topside. Fiora not getting off the launching pad.
And Kobe, both our eyes went to that Executioner's calling, because the only reason not to build Trinity Force and teamfight better as a champion who's going to be staying away from the lane in the late game and wanting to teamfight more is to keep attacking top lane now. So this is very much an item build that tells Zeros 3 people come and top whenever possible from SKT.
And the biggest thing to keep your mind on for a game like this with so much action is flash cooldown timers. Keeping track of these is essential. Remember, they had that visit towards mid lane where they also burn both of Faker's summoner spells. That's why those wards are so important. But side,
well, flash into the charm, a bit of a knockup there as well, but they just simply can't find any of these kills. Health bar's a little bit low, and now under the turret, Shuhao down 2, repels away. He's got to watch out for turret aggro. Can't get to the chickens just yet, but he's got spiders. He's just fine. A dive in the mid lane does work out for Fangbu Buffalo.
So they do return to the mid lane after burning both of Faker's summoners. They finally cash in on the kill, but SKT want to answer on top side. That's going to destroy the turret.
They are happy to play around Khan. There is no chance his turret lives. First turret plus the plates. Lots of pressure here, and you can see Zeros knows that, of course, they can dive him afterwards. Goes for the wave, but now in a 1v2. Fights off against Clid. Gets knocked up yet again. Puts the ult down. Has to immune. That does so. Gets the heal. Oh, but the fear knocks him out of it, and SKT has the damage in the 2v1.
And let's take a moment as PvP will get this. No, they won't, actually. Teddy's coming over to run him off.
Moments, Kobe.
We are still fighting. They're not always kills. This one just might be. Matza does not have flash. They put the ignite on him as well, burning through the shield. They might just have the damage. Feathers fly, and a kill comes through. Big Coral makes it a third for Fangbu Buffalo. Now Teddy fights against shields as well. Jumps to the wall. One more shot to get him. And it's going to be Big Coral walking up with his size. Blocks it away. Ocean Drake will go trade it over to PvP.
This is the type of game we wanted to see from PvP. They're still looking for those plays. They get the Ocean Drake extra kill off of bottom side, and they are still in this.
But it's breathless action, and we have to sit back for a second and take stock of where the wins are coming. Looking for a snipe. Not going to find anyone on that one. Is Teddy. Everything from SKT has been thrown topside, including the Rift Herald we talked about being picked up. That turret goes down. Faker, we got our confirmation, never went Hex Strength. It did try to build that Trinity Force. Doesn't have the shield. If he had the shield, it would have been at least one more turret shot. Who's to say how the turn would have been? But mid lane and bot lane has been the focus from PvP. They've got the answering Rift. Oh, they got the answering Ocean Drake, but the kill score overall, very even.
Game though, look at this, 3,500 gold puts SKT ahead. That's top lane with all the turrets, the extra kill, the extra farm. They are smashed. Top advantage, 2,100.
And let's take a moment now to go over the learnings from SKT after the game 1 opener, right, where everyone was so surprised and they got destroyed through topside by G2 with that Jace pick, so efficiently. Since then, Clid has put so much focus towards Khan's lane and ensuring that that does not happen again. They've actually turned it into a point of strength for themselves. And once again, the top turret is the first turret that SK Telecom claimed.
But the moment that Fiora gets a bit more gold into her items, whatever the lead is, eventually things will be fine for her. So I want to see, after the next, say, honeymoon phase pre-20. How can Khan transfer his lead to the teamfight phase, which is really what he needs to do? It's not enough to keep a health lead on a Fiora in the 1v1. They actually have to find a way to use that big horsey to win the 5v5.
Very true. It is going to be about trying to force that bite, because PvP, they gain so much from spreading out the map here. And now we do have Clid in the mid lane trying to hover around. Meanwhile, we have bottom side extra members here for PvB, with Elise lying in wait.
Okay, bot lane team fighting could be important. If you think about SKT wanting to win the 5v5s, well, Zai's really good against Hecarim. Of course, you can immune that charge every time and be a big carry. So if Big Coral gets the money, maybe he can be okay. No fight to be had just yet here.
And the item build paths that are done when the Infernal Drake spawns in a couple of minutes are going to be fascinating. Look, for example, at LeBlanc, who slowed down on completing the Lost Chapter into something like the Ludens, and it's gone double flat pen to try to blow someone up. So if you get a vision lead around something like the Infernal Drake, LeBlanc can pick someone, take them down. But double Trinity Force and a huge Hecarim is the big tool SKT has. Right now, we're fighting for the enemy blue.
Pallet now forced over the wall. Fight for blue does go over as Juhao gets that one, but can't give it over to LeBlanc, who does have a bit of a smaller mana pool. And now this fight over the top side, you can see Vital's doing pretty well, but the knockup comes in! And this might just be enough to knock down Nolly's low, but not going to be dying just yet. Clid, no ult comes through. And looks like he'll stay alive if they're burning flash, but nothing lost for SKT.
Yeah, big pressure advantages for SK Telecom across the map. Mid, bot, and top, all pushing in, forcing damage onto these turrets.
And because of that, PvP have to find a way to stave off this push and set up a pick bush to kill someone with a Lace and LeBlanc. Otherwise, a 2-level lead Hecarim on a TP ward. Goodbye to PvP's hopes of Infernal Drake.
This goes really well, of course, with time, and a lot of champions on both teams who could really use that extra scaling. But Koro getting pushed around and down to 200 HP. Another Mystic Shot will kill him! And he has to back off. He didn't want to burn ult in that one. That means a lot of turret pressure here.
Flank here from Pallet on the Rakan coming down the river, but they don't have much to back at flank up.
No.
Just turret to half HP and top lane pressure still going great. Execution's Calling, as you mentioned, applies on all physical damage, so even just the Qs will do it. Doesn't have to auto-attack, and it's very easy to win that trade against Zeros. Mid pressured in as well. Every single lane. Advantage for SKT. Bit of wave clear, but without Luden's Echo, it's not quite as good as you'd want it. Finally gets rid of the minions. That turret, though, at about 15%, and everywhere SKT are just winning.
Yeah, SK Telecom, if they can now establish vision through the jungle, then the PvP composition will completely collapse. It does not play well from behind here. So this Infernal Drake will determine so much for how the mid game is going to go. If SKT can finish off these turrets and get that vision control, it is going to be a very scary situation for PvB to face check.
And just as we transition into the 5v5 phase, I want to really focus my praise onto Clid. Because right now, if you look at the lanes he had to work with, when it comes to lanes for a Rek'Sai gank, Ezreal Tahm Kench not great, Corki has no CC. Yes, Khan can potentially set something up, but it's conditional. This was really about Clid just setting up a huge lead, and the fact that he has 100% kill participation and 3 out of the 4 kills is why SKT have really stuck the landing on what could have been a really passive farming early game like game 1 of this tournament for them.
That's why so many people were so excited when Clid joined SK Telecom. You know, one of the top junglers in the LPL being added to this squad really changed the face of what people know from the organization.
But he has his style. He was aggressive in the LPL on JDG. He's still aggressive on SKT. And he had one of the most impressive entrance interviews I've seen of an SKT player. But we'll hold that story.
Wow.
They force a flash out of the Elise. They're setting up for this Infernal. They desperately crave.
Another ult burn by Fiora. Gets 3 of the Vitals, but not enough. Just pushes Hecarim over the wall. Ravenous Hydra keeps that sustain going nicely. More poke out from Teddy. And that turret shot us about 2 auto attacks from dying away as the Infernal Drake has spawned. And outside of the Scuttlecrab that was taken a little while ago, there's not a lot of vision here for Fangbu Buffalo. SKT will indeed knock down that turret. And it's 3-0 on that scoreline. Infernal Drake waiting for PvP to come around. They still want to fight for this one. You mentioned that being a very important crux here in this. If it can be fought for, and so far it's a bit equal.
Well, keep in mind, the bottom turret just went down, and the teleport for Hecarim is ready. So now SKT, they close their grasp on the Infernal Drake. They will secure this extra damage for the late game, and their pathway is clear.
And for PvB, to me, they were clearly posturing because, yes, Fiora had TP and could join, but she used the ultimate a long time ago. It's on cooldown for another quarter of that long cooldown, especially at level 2. And because of that, they really weren't going to come in with an inferior team fight ultimate like the Fiora ult late, so it just seemed like a matter of time till SKT could pick up a turn.
I would say the next order of business for PvB and trying to manufacture a comeback in this game is making use of the Elise, LeBlanc, and Rakan. One of these champions has to find the surprise attack on an SK Telecom member, and they have to have damage behind them to follow this up. Scryer's Bloom finds a couple of those surprise attacks.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he's sitting in the brush like, all right, maybe it's top lane, maybe Hecarim or Faker or someone shows up, and no, not at all. Gets revealed out. Unlucky.
And for pick power, like the champions you're mentioning, Kobe, you need a vision lead somewhere. You need a reason for someone to walk
What?
by. Ryan.
They're just going to go with the flash shield. Everything going to try to chunk down Mata. And at some point, there's got to be a route, but Clint's coming around as well. Elise might come in for a little bit more. Looks like the damage can't find that just yet, but here comes the Rek'Sai. Big damage for Clint on a rampage now for the 5
He's
kills.
a monster.
Looking for yet another double kill on the
get out.
One traded back down for Ezreal, and now Fiora has to do all of it, but still 2 vitals left up. Can't find the target. Flashing in for it. Finally gets a kill on the board, but this team fight is 4-1 already. Clid getting 3 to himself, SKT just smashing.
Clid is insane. 6-0 on the Rek'Sai. We like to see the junglers getting the credit that they deserve, and he's got the bounty on his head to prove it.
He just knows his limits. He knows he can launch into the backline 1v3, and then with just damage being peppered by the Ezreal, come out with a triple kill. They'll come out with a Baron and SKT. That might be more than the Buffaloes can hold.
Incredibly fast Baron Null. Can't even get over the wall. Actually shorts that one as well. So this is a guarantee. And look at this gold lead. SKT completely in control. Started with aggressive plays in the top side. They got the ganks to work. And then a controlled game for all the turrets, the Drakes, and now the Baron.
And I watched the replay of this play. They didn't look for the setup. They just said, we got a control ward. Let's start it. It's now or never. They got a lot of damage on Tamada. But look at what Clid was considering when he flashed in on first 2 and eventually 3.
Yep, gonna use the ultimate here. Takes down the AD carry first, then turns on his lover, and Pallet goes down. Now, I thought it was gonna get a little bit dicey, but Mata comes in, gonna sacrifice himself, takes the Rek'Sai up the river a little bit, then they get the knock-up, finish off the last kill there, and it is a triple for Clid.
Went from a love story to a tragedy very fast for the lovers duo, and Clid on his entrance to SKT, an interview with Korean media said, my only concern is I am an aggressive jungler and I'm not sure whether Faker can actually back up my style. This is the interview of a player who, to Korean fans, was very unknown. Playing for JDG, not even a premier team in the LPL, and not having played in Korea. Very few knew what to expect. They know plenty right now.
Clid is definitely a lot of the reason SKT are winning right now. Faker himself actually yet to get on the positive side of the scoreboard here. And then beset a little bit with some decent lane pressure and decent farm. It's SKT. The rest of the crew built around him doing so much heavy lifting here. Looking like 2-1 to start out their day 2 of MSI 2019. As more and more of these turrets fall down to 6 already. Only inhibitors and their defenders stand alive now.
And this type of strong performance from SK Telecom only goes to further build the hype for their matchup with IG later today. Right now, they are knocking at the doors with Baron buff, whittling down all of the inhibitor turrets at once.
Bottom lane about to drop. There is Fake continuing his PvE pushing, doing very well with that. Great farm, great XP, and killing more of the structures. Mid lane maybe next on the chopping block, down to about 1/4 health there. And as soon as the auto attacks come in, that might be going down soon enough. Fungu Buffalo don't know when they can make their defense actually happen. Still at 80 seconds on that Baron buff.
Yeah, I think honestly their best shot was the play that they tried to pull off in the mid lane. If it wasn't for that exhaust from Mata on Big Koro during the CC exchange, then they might have been able to get that kill and find a way back in. But now it's SK Telecom just closing their grasp.
Absolutely. PvP are paying for the sins of the past. Right now, 3 lanes pushing in. Only Xayah has relevant wave clear from safety. So unfortunately for them, 2 inhibitors go down, SKT back off the map, and PvP just picking up the very, very small pieces. And Fiora doesn't even have her 2-item breakpoint we always talk about, and split push with no map control is so hard.
And to me, the crown jewel of this whole comp for PvP was the Fiora into Hecarim pick that they saved for last pick here. And yet, they didn't have the support for it early on. Clid, the biggest factor was the early game of him again forcing this victory for SKT on the top side and then utilizing this throughout the game.
So returning to what we were looking for from SKT, adjustments. It's not just priority when it comes to SKT. This game, they had an early game plan that both enhanced their hopes of teamfighting. Hecarim, always a massive team fighter, but took away the primary win condition of Zeros on the split.
Yeah, and that was, of course, Clid doing all that work topside. Every single time it looked like he won the guessing game of when do I knock up versus when do you riposte. Got the knock, but every single one of those fights, riposte came in afterwards. There's a quick red buff handoff to the Ezreal as well. So Clid, my man of the match, very obviously for all the massive plays he did. And as you mentioned, shutting down that Zeros win condition. So SKT, look at it now. 12,000 gold lead up to Infernal Drakes. Double inhibitor down as well.
And since they drafted the Corki and the Ezreal, they have plenty of firepower to back this up. That's why it's so difficult. When they come to siege your turrets later in the game, whether they have Baron buff or not, the rockets come through, the Mystic shots come through, all this poke is landing, and this is going to be the end of the turret.
Exactly, with only the I's to be dotted and the T's to be crossed, you start casting your mind forward, Kobe. We've got SKT versus IG as the final game of the day, and SKT in much improved form in this PvP series.
Noel's sort of committed there, just the poke. Null gets mauled off that top turret. This one's going to fall right away. Just in case needed, it demolishes there. Chunk down it goes. Kill credit goes to Mata. And the final inhibitor going to drop. We're not even 26 minutes in just yet, and the base is completely in shambles. Supers hitting Nexus turrets already. This is their second siege after Baron's already gone. SKT have gone all out for this one, and this could be the final push. This is the last desperate attempt for Fangbu Buffalo if they can find some kind of opening from a catastrophic gold deficit. Zero's already chunked to about 2/3 HP already, and SKT just waiting for the next minion wave.
Yeah, all they have to do is play patiently, stay inside the base, keep up the pressure here, and now we're going for the Nexus turret.
Well, the E has been pulled to one less wave for tool available as the turrets still get dropped down below half HP. Now on both of them, looking at more chunks coming back and forth. Still, you got the Hecarim waiting around. When does Khan want to go? And not just yet, but still pushing in these waves. Still getting the poke, pushing PvP lower and lower, saying you have to go in first. A nice trade of ults, a great dodge by Big Koro, pops the heal. Zeros now low as well. SKT still can just wait for another wave. His turret gets hit and is almost down. And here's the next round of supers, and it's now the open Nexus at 26:30. And SKT say, you know what? We've got Baron in 25 seconds. We'll cross those T's one more time. We know we can wait for one last neutral. The flash in!
Got it!
And he gets it! Null makes a huge play. Some money coming into the pockets.
That one was from downtown. That one buys them a full reset, a bit of gold, some experience. The dream of a victory, that one still seems very far away, but even something to get the crowd going in front of the home crowd is a nice thing to discuss.
All right, let's keep trimming them, shall we? Because
okay.
I like to imagine a world where crazy comebacks actually do happen.
I'm with you.
All right, we'll take a look at the replay. First, because Null is the guy trying to keep hope alive for Vietnam. He gets the big shutdown there onto Ezreal. Your next step is going to have to be hoping that SKT actually start that Baron, and you send someone to go steal it. If Elise can actually steal that, he has Flash right now, he has the Repel. It would definitely take some negligence from SK Telecom to allow that to happen, but that is the hope.
Not often when you say negligence in League of Legends, that's an understatement, but they have 3 inhibitors down, another Infernal spawning.
Oh!
And then now you got more problems.
And Faker's on the board with his first kill. Looking for the second, flashing over the root, a double kill, almost by himself now is, poor Shu Hao has thrown away, but he's smited, he's been knocked up, and one last auto will kill him. The Prey Seeker doing just that as well. The fear, he's gonna have this swipe. Oh, the minions, they might do it as well, and he gets out of the fountain.
Khan, what are you
gonna
doing?
try, and Khan gets the shutdown just for good measure. The Nexus drops a bit of spice for the ace, and SK Telecom pick up their second win of MSI.
Khan decides he wants to win in style. He knows his next opponent, the Shy, will be watching from the back. Everyone around the world looking for SKT to answer what is a pretty indifferent performance on day one of MSI. Their answer, it was pretty damn clear.
Emphatic here from SK Telecom to open up their day. Their first game here, definitely taken care of in style. And that answer about top lane questionability, that was most people's question mark for this new iteration of SKT. You know, with all of these names added to the roster, would Khan actually be the one that will be able to match up when they meet up with the very best teams? Like Invictus Gaming, having the Shy up there, it's intimidating for anyone. But Khan is one that has stated that he can win that matchup.
Khan's statement was clear, but for PVB, who will be leaving for the day after playing their 2 matches, I like the fact that, especially in the early game, they didn't hang back. They were trying to make some plays, and yes, it didn't go to plan, but they didn't watch as SKT took them down until the gold lead made it a little bit too far-fetched.
Yeah, definitely a game I feel like that broke apart in mechanical execution. Again, I think back to the guessing game you must have in Fiora versus Rek'Sai. That is sometimes a coin flip. Are you in your opponent's head? Do you immune the knockup and stun him back? If he gets that W right, that's a kill under turret. Sometimes that's a possibility. Sometimes that can happen. But either way, very, very well played. Clid was massive SKT, by far the better team, and well played to them. We'll see him more later on. Now we're going to see what the State Farm analyst has got to say about that SKT win.
Thank you, Freak. Exactly right. A very solid win from SKT in their first game of the day. Here's still one more to go against IG in our final game. But we actually wanted to take this opportunity, using this game as an example, to kind of break down a higher level concept, which is that of understanding your team's win conditions and how your role, how you individually fit into the win conditions of your team by looking at the 2 junglers in this matchup. Of course, Clid on one side, piloting or against Xiao Hu on the other side.
Yeah, and we look at a jungler whose job is to be defensive and a jungler whose job is to be offensive. And Suhao is supposed to be the guy who's going offensive here. He's supposed to snowball Zeros in this game. And then it's actually very winnable. You have an actual win condition in this Fiora. And you can see how the counter gank comes in at just the right time to trade back at the very minimum.
And here's the thing, you wanted to see this about 6 different times. This is like, get a good look at it, because this almost never happens again. And yeah, you can say there were some mechanical missteps right there, but the fact of the matter is that he should have just camped the Fiora. This game was 100% winnable with this type of composition, but he just picked the wrong areas on the map.
Yeah, we didn't show it, but he went bot lane first, which actually set him behind. He should have started bot side and cleared all the way to top to then end up going for an early gank against the no-flash Hecarim. Instead, it's the Rek'Sai that keeps going top. And while in the end, after the first counter gank where he picks up 2 kills, he's no longer actually defensive, he's now attacking the Fiora. It's all part of the strategy of make sure Khan can't fall behind in this, because we will outscale him then.
It's the difficulties of, ultimately he was trying to trade because at that point, the damage had been done. But remember, SKT picked the Ezreal and Tahm Kench to be able to absorb that as well as they could. And the Dragons weren't going the way of Feng Bu. So just a really unfortunate situation because of that.
And I love that you pick up the idea of the Tahm Kench pick, because here's the thing, I keep looking at Feng Bu Buffalo. We had a lot of hype about Zeros, but ultimately it's all been about Big Koro and Palette when things go right for this team. So if that's your play style, if that's your identity, just keep playing down towards them. But that means that you must respect Kench. You need to ban that away because you need to be able to break that lane down there. So if you can't fake it, just be who you are and just start playing kill-oriented bot lanes and throwing everything you've got.
It's actually a shame.
Yeah, so to some degree, there's just a disconnect, right? It's if you're going to draft this composition, then you need to play towards the Fiora. But if you instead want to play the way you did in this game, to your point, Frost, you need to actually make sure that you secure matchups that will allow you to come away with those advantages in that style.
And I'm actually really curious who the loudest voice is in this team comp. I know that we hear from the Vietnamese guys that Palette is the guy to watch, and we have highlighted him. And I'm just is he just calling all of these plays? Because if you have a big voice, I watch that as a coach and I'm thinking, this seems like a loud voice is just saying, come here, come here, come here. And you're just not getting the full look at the map in terms of your cross-map communication.
It's always interesting to think about, because we obviously don't know what is the coach saying to the team just when he walks off stage. But normally you would just kind of run down some of the basic things. What is it we actually want to do in the early game here? And when you see a Hecarim on one side, you counter pick it with Fiora, you know he's running Ignite TP, and you have Elise. You would think the last word on stage is camp top.
Right.
And yet your jungler goes bot lane first, then he goes top once, he dies, and then he just goes mid for the rest of the game. And the entire win condition is now out the window and you're just getting outscaled. So that's again some of the concerns where it feels like this was actually not rocket science. No flash Hecarim. You have Fiora. Go top.
And I think in this instance, Suhao was actually overthinking it in various circumstances. One that comes to mind is when he went towards the mid lane, had an opening on towards Faker. Faker flashes over the wall, but has sub 30% HP. Elise can follow. There is you have all eyes on the people on the map. And the Feng Bu Buffalo of yesterday actually was far more active and a little bit more disrespectful enemy team for Invictus Gaming, but we didn't see that here today.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Deficio, while we can knock Fengvu Buffalo for maybe not following those win conditions that should have been laid out quite clearly following the draft, you have to look over at SKT's side and say that for Clid, he very much did his job as a jungler, recognizing that the top lane should have been the point of weakness for the team and should have been attacked by Fengvu, and goes to support Khan endlessly.
And this is why we keep saying that the jungler and the jungle pick, it's so important if you want to play more for late game, because you need that one pick that can get you past the early game. And in this case, it's Rek'Sai, who's fantastic at early dueling, strong with ganks as well. And if you have a jungler who then understands, I don't need to go for the first gank, I need to just try and track where the enemy least is going, and then come in with a counter gank, and then I can start defending the one lane who needs it, which in this case was, of course, Khan. He also tried to do it yesterday on Lee Sin. So it's really smart, and it's one of the reasons you need a strong early game jungler if you want to play towards late game.
And for that reason, Clid will pick up MasterCard Player of the Game in this one again, for recognizing his role in the team and in their win conditions to ultimately secure this victory, pushing the squad to 2-1 ahead of their matchup against IG.
Such a consistent player for me. Clid has consistently shown me that he is, the highlighting force of SKT. Sure, whenever we talk about this team, we say Faker and Teddy, but a lot of the times the one with the highest IQ, and of course, to be fair, with the ability to be able to hold them firm until the mid game, has been Clid, and he's been, for me, the best jungler in the tournament.
I almost feel like it's hard because I don't want to have like a super strong statement on this, but like Clid is the X factor for this team in this particular tournament with the other junglers around him. I think kind of the aggressive play style, like again, this is what SKT fans have wanted for a really long time. This is what they thought that they were going to get when they got Peanut, and then eventually that kind of ran out of steam, and you get kind of Blank 2.0, Bengi 2.0. This Clid, this aggressive jungler alongside a Faker in form, if Faker does start to return all the way up there, that's terrifying. Like, the ceiling on this roster can be so terrifying.
And calm. Remember, like, a jungler that I also confidently look towards, coming from the LPL, has been Ning, right? Ning has insane highs. But even in this tournament, we've seen those lows. So we haven't seen that from Clid in some time.
This was a very solid victory from SKT. When we return, though, Raz will tell us all about how to carry on Sylas, as two of the best Sylas players so far at MSI, Rather and Caps, face off in the mid lane. So don't go anywhere.
Clid gonna flash forward as well. The Vital is here. There's some good damage. Does he have the trade? Can he find the second? It's close. The health bar is below 100 each, but he's got to watch out for the Praise Seeker. Another grasp to meet it. At least might come in for a little bit more. Looks like damage, can't find that just yet, but here comes the Rek'Sai. Big damage for Clid on a rampage now for the 5
He's a monster.
Looking for yet another double kill.
Get out.
One traded back now for Ezreal. We know we can wait for one last neutral. The flash in.
Got
and
it.
He gets it. Null makes a huge play. And Khan gets the shutdown just for good measure. And SK Telecom pick up their second win of MSI.
Welcome back to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. It's not often we get to see an assist like this one, with an ally attempting to save their teammate, but actually assuring the death of both players. That's exactly what happened in this game between South America's Isurus Gaming and Oceania's Bombers. As the two junglers started scrapping in the river, the rest of the Bombers collapsed in on the weakening Rek'Sai, but not before Isurus support could try to come to the
follow-up team fight then out of this squad.
Yeah, and if you're facing the team fight, they already have the Tahm Kench on the side of G2, so there are a lot of options with the Abyssal Voyage moving around the map for later. Let's see if Flash Wolves answer it with a little bit of semi-global themselves.
Yeah, and more follow-up team fight, right? Jarvan Gallia, we've seen this so much over the last year and a half or so. This is the bog standard. Let's dive into backline, lock the mid-cage, follow up with the knock-up into the taunt, and try to kill some backliners.
And it's a duo of picks, but it's not a bot lane duo, and they'll have to absorb some bot lane AD carry bans, you would imagine. G2, when they last picked the Tahm Kench, they ended up pivoting, going towards something a bit different in the bot lane. That was the Nico on the day. This time it's going to be the Ezreal, so a much more standard duo one we just saw in our previous series, and we'll see how many bot lane carries we've taken out. Betty's famous Kalista first on the menu.
Yeah, as SKT put on display in the last game, the Tahm Kench and Ezreal required 0 jungle attention the entire game. Extremely safe, and that allows you to put so much into these solo lanes that have been so strong for G2 in setting up multiple roams and setting up their control of the map towards the mid game.
Well, a couple of junglers who might be taking up some of that help and getting the solo laners ahead, taken off the table here. Olaf dropped off. We know that there's still one more top or mid to grab for Flash Wolves, one more for G2 as well, and Flash Wolves can finally answer a little bit when that finally comes through as you see a couple of marksman bans, of course, Kai'Sa and Kalista off the table. Now waiting what the final Flash Wolves ban will be. What G2 will pick up afterwards is Karthus dropped off as a Yankos pick.
And with that comment you made about the Ezreal Tahm Kench not needing resources, Flash was intuited, okay, maybe the Karthus will just farm rather than just going for a topside jungler. Like, for example, the Lee Sin. The Lee Sin, though, will be the eventual lock-in, so hard to say what the first call would have been. There is always concerns with Karthus that you end up with 3 laners or a jungler and 2 soul laners that do magic damage, so this is actually pretty clean, and we get an oldie but a goodie, the Yankos Lee Sin.
Meanwhile, Flash Wolves looking like they want to add some more team fight to the composition here. Orianna Ball on top of the Jarvan jumping with the Galio on his back. Now that is a huge wombo combo.
I believe this looks like something like a team fight comp seems to be what you want to do.
Oh, really?
Sivir might line up well alongside that one, but we'll see what actually comes through here with this one. Flash Wolves, 8 seconds to go. Coach Sweet is going to decide that Lucian is the grab here, and an aggressive bottom lane is going to be what they want.
I want something that in the 2v2, you catch the right person, maybe you can force a kill. Sivir would have been purely on the farming side.
Yeah.
Now the answer is, with a lot of options here, because you could lane the Sylas in either mid or top, given that you have full information, with the matchups there can definitely grin and bear through the Orianna trade damage in the mid. The Nico, which we know is oh so flexible on the G2 side, will be the final lock-in.
All right, I'm still not sure exactly, based on the matchup, of course, what they think is better, but Nico and Sylas going to be the 2 solo laners here. Ezreal, I think, 99.9% is going to be what Perkz plays here into this one, and we'll see who they want to fight up against better. Ryze top, Orianna mid, and looks like it's Nico to battle the Ryze and Sylas to battle Orianna.
It's a matchup I've watched a couple of times in the LCK. It's one where, just like a Gnar, you want to try to take down the Ryze. I think you have to go aggressive on Ryze to make this matchup work, because we're expecting on-hit build coming in from Water. You can go AP to try to push, but on-hit is the one that really kind of sticks the landing over the course of the early to mid-game transition. So very interesting to see, once we hit the game, the rune choice coming through from Hanabi.
And that 2v2 on the top side can definitely go the way of the Jarvan and Ryze. Rune Prison into Jarvan knockup could turn that entire game plan right back around on them. So tracking the enemy junglers is going to be of the utmost importance in this game.
And as long as you land the Rune Prison, even if she does turn invisible, the knockup's still going to come in afterwards. It's all skill shots anyway. Almost certainly will die as a result. So this could be very spicy. We might see that top lane pressure like we just saw in the previous game. Flash Wolves on the back foot here, yet they have never, ever missed the top 4 at MSI across all the years they have gone. This would be the first they missed, looking to pick up a win against G2, who has been impressive so far, has been a great pride of Europe here at this tournament, and Mickey X seems to be able to keep playing with the roster. Let's see him get in the game. We are on to the Rift here for game number 5. Flash Wolves at 1 and 2, G2 at 2 and 1, but they have only lost to what looks like the strongest team in the tournament in Invictus Gaming. And it's a double round robin. Lots of games still here to play. No one should be disappointed with the first 3 or 4 games results. There is lots to still do and prove and improve upon.
G2 certainly looking fearsome so far in this tournament, and Caps on Sylas was just on display earlier today versus Team Liquid. With a little bit of attention from Jankos, he was able to demolish the team later on.
And G2 have a comp that would really fit them, even if it was the same G2 lineup at Worlds 2018. This is the quintessential 1-3-1 comp coming from G2, wanting to attack those side lanes as the game goes on. And the moment you see Galio, Jarvan, and Orianna, like Freak so simply put, it's a teamfight comp through and through on the side of Flash Wolf.
Yeah, like you're saying, though, G2 drafting so many answers for that type of composition. Perks on Ezreal with Mickey X on Tom Kench here with the Abyssal Voyage being able to lend more threat to a 1-3-1 style of play. And then Jankos having the kickback here on Lee Sin is a huge disengage.
Look at the little thing that happened right there as Rather walked down to the ward that was revealed to leech experience for that ward kill. This tells me normally in a solo lane, you have to kill the entire first wave plus something else to get level 2. Instead, if you share an award XP, it's just the first wave. We knew Caps got XP himself on a single ward, so it's going to be level 2 a bit early. It shouldn't mean too much because they'll get the same XP.
Caps went down for a late ward also to try to help Jankos with his jungle pathing, so a lot of different agencies going on. There is that level 2 already, as you mentioned, Freak. In the bot lane, right now, Perks and Mickey happy to give up the push to Flash.
Just getting some farm under the turret as Perks stacks up his mana flow band, and we wait to see what else comes in here. I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised by just how well Mickey X and Perks are playing. They've gotten 2 or 3 duo kills in lane just across this tournament. They have been actually dominant as a duo, I would say, overall. And we knew they were good, but to actually step up so well has been impressive.
All right, we said we were going to track these junglers early on, and Boogie on the Jarvan has gone red buff straight to top side. If you get that Rune Prison knock-up!
Rune Prison and a knock-up, and the clone goes the other direction. Not a way out for Wander, and an early first blood at 2 minutes and 30 for Boogie.
Exactly.
That was spotted on the ward there, Kobe. That was the big moment. The deep ward put down by Caps at level 1 didn't spot him, but now Jankos is lying in wait.
Has more mana, can do some damage right here. Boogie gonna try to flag and drag over the wall, followed up by the Q, and Caps might come in for a little bit more as well. Look at how far he's flags in, gets the Kingslayer and the shield and gets right back out. What a great trade kill.
Yeah, that's also red buff now on Caps for Sylas. Also going to help him heal back up when he backs away. This is so big for G2. They took a very, very terrible opening to the game in their Nico getting destroyed here. As we talked about in Champion Select, as long as you have the point-and-click Rune Prison, it makes Jarvan's job so easy. You guarantee that combo. They get the early kill. The minion wave still pushing in his favor, but Jankos doesn't let it sit at that. Lies in wait at the Scuttle Crab. He sets up the kill for Caps, and once again, this is Caps Sylas with early money.
And what I want the viewers to appreciate is not just the early money being centered onto the oh-so-scary Sylas from Caps. Think about what was gained in those ganks. A kill topside, first blood gold, but no flash is used by Wander, but then the red buff coming in, the good back timing coming in for the Sylas as well. The bonus objectives go the way of G2.
We can definitely talk up what Flash Wolves got out of it in that early tier for Rise. Hanabi is the guy that they want early money onto, right? To back up your point, Hanabi has been one that has gotten more resources and more of Flash Wolves' focus since the changes to this team. So he's the one that they should be focusing on, and Rise can be an answer in that side lane, even if they have to deal with it. But looks like jungle attention again.
They've got a minor root. The Q's going to land plenty of damage here. The Rune Prison to the shield, though. Force the flash trap, but Wander has the auto attack, and Jankos finds his second successful gank.
Every time we come up with a story here for Flash Wolves, Jankos answers it again. The Lee Sin is on fire. Extremely active in the early game and helping out those solos as expected.
Usually it's the Midas touch. Some is the Midas foot coming through from this Lee Sin. Jankos, everything is touching is turning to gold. Not quite the first blood king this time, but he is the king of the jungle.
Honestly, yeah, that's the more ideal situation. Him setting up the kills for his solo laners and them catching in. We get a nice little freeze frame there of reenactment of Jankos chasing down Jarvan.
The moment right before the Doom, flag and dug over the wall into the Q follow, and we all saw that one play out. So look at this, G2, 800 gold ahead, and I think even fortunate that the kills were given over.
2019 MSI colorized here. Jankos carnivorous jungler.
Great minds think alike. I was going right there as well, Kobe. Loving it. Jankos loving his life. Had a really kind of bubbly interview with Shox earlier in the broadcast. He's definitely feeling it, and he can be a confidence player right now, sky high.
Once again, 500 gold lead for G2 Esports, and you're seeing the Wits End being rushed very early. Wonder has the components right now already. It's going to be even harder to be knocked down by this Rise, as he's got the durability to handle most of this one. Tries for the root, not going to get that one just yet. And overall, the favorites now looking very good in this tournament.
It should be noted that Wonder has much more build path flexibility than the Rise, who needs to build his tiers and work into the Seraph's Embrace, and from there, because of that, Wonder can attack both solo lanes by building a Wit's End and stacking up that magic resist, and the on-hit damage at some point will be enough to force Rise under a turret into early recalls to try to contest with the Nico in the side lane, and if enough gold goes onto Silas, who we should note has gone Conqueror for extended brawls, then he may be able to answer the Rise, usually impervious in the side lane.
Yep, here we go. They're going to focus on the top side. Caps is level 6 on the Silas, but Jankos sits on a ward, so Flash Wolves know that this is coming.
Ziana coming right back in as he sees the Lee Sin drop off the ward, but yeah, pretty trademark G2 play right there. Caps getting the push, roaming up the top side, trying to find one of his lanes to put ahead. So frequently it has been Wonder. Think back to the win over SKT. It was all the pressure they gave Wonder's Jace. Similar ranged auto attacker they're putting pressure on right now, and his lane going very well at 50 to 36 CS.
And we just saw what is, to me, one of the funnier ults that Silas can steal is whenever you get the Orianna ultimate, you can go to a Sombrero ult, but you don't get to move it around much, so it's mostly for those all-ins trying to get the extra pull back there.
And I want people to note there was actually really nothing purchased on the back. It was a forced back on the Orianna, who usually wants to wait to 6 minutes, teleport back in, and then lane again till that TP is back up. Nothing doing there, and no interrupt awkwardly on that back.
Auto attack a bit late. I don't know if Boogie wanted to burn any of his E or Q cooldowns in case the trade came back and is without an escape. So tried to auto attack, couldn't quite get it there. At least not in time to get through the recall immunity, and whatever, no harm, no foul, but it's 1,500 gold putting G2 ahead as they've gotten farm in a lot of places right now. And now round 2 in the bottom lane as Betty takes a couple of shots. Perks and Co still doing pretty well in this lane, up against Illusion, up in farm.
Meanwhile, keeping track of these junglers, Jankos is actually now making his way down to the bottom side. He is level 6 with access to the Dragon Kick, and he continues going for these invades on the Flash Wolves. Red buff started up by himself, and Boogie's going to trade.
Opting into the trade, like you mentioned, a level under, no completed Cinderhawk. Both teams had vision around the area. Jankos had the deep vision, but not, of course, spotting the ward that saw him come in. So it is full information to Flash Wolves, and I agree with their dissemination, given that Jankos is so large already.
He's got enough for the Warhammer right now. Going to go for the quick Mountain Drake. 8 minutes and change in. This will be helpful in the mid to late game, and going to plow down some turrets as well. It's going to take a while. Mountain Drake is the tankiest, but looks like there's going to be no contest, and eventually that will go over cleanly. Rather grabs the blue. So far, everything looks fine.
I do really enjoy watching, successful uses of champions like Lee Sin in the early game, because, a lot of the power of the champion in actual just straight up 1v1 dueling was taken out, and so much of it is about the information and the mobility that you have, the choices that you make with it. These advantages that he's gotten for the team have been with smart choices. Setting up the rush gank there by the Scuttle Crab, to get the first kill for Caps, and then returning to the top side with the extra dash to set up Wonder as well.
And I love that point, Ko, because when it comes to ranking junglers in tier lists, it's always Lee Sin kind of around an A and B tier, but there's always that bracket or that asterisk of if you're a Lee Sin main, suddenly it jumps up, because what the champion can be is all-encompassing, but in those Lee Sin losses, you kind of pigeonhole on what it isn't.
That's why so many people love the champion. It has a very high skill cap and allows for a lot of flexibility.
Definitely flexible, and Jankos already found himself 2 kills for the squad and given them over to his solo lanes. Caps and Wonder have been, I would say, the big carries for G2, the ones most standing out for the squad. A lot of good players on that roster, so they are able to keep pushing forward, and the goal just keeps growing. Like, without any of their kills or turrets falling, it's now 2,000 almost, putting G2 ahead they continue to excel in these lanes, finding plates and finding CS leads.
And that's exactly what you want when you're running a 1-3-1 composition like this. You want to get the early lead so you can pressure the towers and continue to spread the map. But let's remember what Flash Wolves are keeping in mind. Their big combination of ultimates. Now Galio's level 6, so they can actually try and bring the synergies of their champions together. That's what we need to see from this team if they're going to pull a win.
This is a bit of a cheeky start of the Rift Tower on the top side, basically off spawn. There's already been a lane swap, and Perks is in the top lane. Sorry, just the impersonation there. The Nico's there. That was a very easy one.
Gotcha!
There's been no rotational power here, but Jankos will not want to give up the Rift Tower, given it's around a strong side for G2.
And indeed, they're going to push Boogie off that right away. Puts a control ward down. They're going to fight 2-on-2 with a vision, but Flashwell's going to get the better of that. Stun comes in, though. Caps wants his fight. Does have the dunk, comes in. Shockwave to follow up, though. And the 2-on-2 continues. Health course quite low, though. Caps running out of health. Did they have the damage? He flashes, but he's the wrong way on the map. And he's going to drop down as well. The knock's going to land a double kill in for Rather. That fight goes to Flash Wolves.
Caps punished so heavily for his hubris there, but Perks and Mickey X are trying to answer. Here comes Shousey.
Oh, and he stuns himself onto the wall, gets the talk, gets a bit of health, and he's going to go right into that one. And Roll Morph to safety. Nice play by Hanabi getting over to the wall and getting that edge onto his teammate.
So many times these aggressive plays, when they don't work out, you look so foolish. Caps is the one that starts this play out. 1v2, Jankos is there a little bit behind, and a couple seconds later means that they actually lose the initial duel.
And to me, he was playing to his keystone. Remember, he's a conqueror. Silas coming in, so he thinks he can, in an extended brawl, out-sustain and use all of his abilities, but the cooldowns are still relevant, and as it goes on, he's focused down.
Biggest thing there, you mentioned focus, is the lack of focus from G2. They were on both separate targets there. Jankos kicking Jarvan out the back while Caps staying on the Orianna, and if you split DPS in a 2v2, then the team that focuses is going to get the first kill, you're going to get the triumph heal, and you're going to get the win.
Exactly. Both Flashwell's player at 15% by the time the first kill came through. That's on one target. It's for sure one dead, and as you mentioned, the heal, I think it would have gone differently. So, mechanical, slight misstep there, but it means Flashwolves are answering back. They bring the gold to within 1,000. They get those kills on the Rather. It means he starts to answer pretty well in the matchup, up 30 gold individually over Cap, so finally a place to move in that mid lane.
I'm actually liking the spellbook that we're seeing so much more on all these different mages, by the way, in mid lane. It's a small thing that you mentioned there with heals and being able to switch these spells around, but in clutch fights, it has been a determining factor that has really grown on me over the course of this tournament.
And another swap that came about because of the earlier access to back timers and hitting the map because they didn't get any deaths, they picked up the kills on the side of Flash Wolves, was they were the ones set up the lanes to get the Rift Herald. So the Rift Herald was actually gained purely from winning that 2v2 around the top side.
There's still a minute to go to drop that Herald somewhere useful and give another donation of 300 or so gold via plates to one of those other players. It's going to be summoned into that mid lane right now. He shouldn't be spotted, and there will not be CC putting him down. So rather, feeling comfortable with the jungler behind him, could get some gold in mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like Jankos is lying in wait around the fog of war here. But they usher Shelly up to the turret long enough to get the charge off and cash in.
And of course, it was an uninjured turret, so actually only one plate went down. The next one very low on health, but not dropped just yet. Meanwhile, G2's duo, they've been looking good so far, 15 CS up and getting a lot of pressure in this top side, knocking one down themselves. Betty, that half HP killing, not going to do a whole lot. Trades ults, gets away from Ezreal, stays alive there.
Yeah, Perks giving as good as he got in this one, and if Betty did not sidestep that ultimate, then it would have been Jankos also looking to collapse on the play. So many wards, though, have been placed on the top side since there was a lot of this early action, and Flash Wolves are stabilizing here. Everyone needs to keep in mind the impact that you can have when you bring these ultimates together. There is a first item completion, Ludens on Rather on the Orianna, and now it's a level 2 ultimate. Currently, though, we got the Cloud Drake.
The fake Lee Sin, I like it.
Cloud Drake started up here, and nobody's going to go in and try and contest it.
Easy smite over the wall he goes, and that's, I would argue, an overall better Drake for League of Legends. And the move speed is especially really useful when you are playing different compositions. The 1-3-1 wants to get the side lane, then back. The 5-on-5 needs to just clear the wave and then rejoin the team, and doing that 9% faster with the extra move speed out of combat definitely going to be meaningful here. And so, as the wards get cleared back and forth, we can wait to see when those compositions and their relative sort of power spikes come online.
And as we come into 15 minutes, kind of the awesome thing we've been granted watching on in this particular game is we get to see an examination of the point that's been brought up a couple of times about G2 this tournament. Yes, they can explode teams in the early game, but it's their understanding of how to play these 1-3-1 comps there and understanding how to play the mid to late game that set them apart from some of the other teams, especially in Europe, compared to Flash Wolves, whose bread and butter is the team fight. So both teams are playing comps that they know and love. G2, they don't have an immense gold lead to trade upon in this game. Their execution is what we'll be able to judge in kind of a scientific manner.
Team fight execution going to be the name of the game here for Flash Wolves, and one of the big stories coming in was the fact that, well, hold on, we have a hot potential fight here. Over the wall they go, and they are going to be looking for the battle, looking for the taunt, and he's going to flash, but only find the one who cleanses out right away. Mickey X, though, still running and not going to get caught out for much more, so great escape there, G2, lose only a cleanse.
Yeah, and that is in exchange for a flash, so that's heavily in favor of G2. No flash on the Galio removes a lot of that surprise factor and the big part of their AoE. Meanwhile, down bottom side, the cost is Wonder on the completed Wits End Nico taking down the turret.
And that's going to be music to the ears of G2 fans. Every time they hear Meanwhile at the ranch, they know they're going to be getting advanced around the map. But in the mid lane,
Stun, Shotgun comes in, but a kick onto the side, has barrier though, keep himself alive. There's a dunk flash away by Cat's going to stay alive, and comes Galio, knocking only the minions down, and picks up an ult for the Jarvan himself. They're going to still trade blows back and forth in this mid lane, but everyone healthy on the sides of both halves.
Keeping track of those teleports is critical. That was Betty and Hanabi both using theirs, as well as Wonder on the side of G2. So it's only the mid laners that are left, and then taking into account the ultimates of Galio and Tom Kench.
6 TPs and 2 semi-global ultimates. There's a lot of TPs.
It's a long list.
You're going to have to do a lot of bookkeeping here, whichever team you're on.
And who can be aware and keeping track of that, especially when the teams want different things, going to be important. Yankos trading blows with Boogie, but not going to follow through much longer. Earlier we talked about teamfight execution being important. One of the things for Flash Wolves is they lost so many of their longtime players, and it's now a mixed language team. You've got Rather coming over just recently, still actually on loan, technically a part of Griffin to a certain degree, and Boogie, a Korean player himself who spent 2 splits in Japan, now 2 splits over in the LMS. Okay, he's more used to playing mixed language teams, but they're still not natives, and it is always a little bit harder to make those comms work.
And Boogie definitely is the point man that has to start off the Flash Wolves win condition. The full tank Jarvan jumping in, Cataclysm with the Orianna Ball, with the Galio. That's how they want to bring this all together. So their coordination and their communication, with one of these newer players is going to be critical in their success.
And now another fight in the bottom side, but look how much more damage Wonder has. Pops the Seraph's shield as well.
Yeah, and because he has got the Wits End and the access to the healing, below 50%, even when he gets that low, there's still a lot of safety in it.
And that's what we were alluding to, though. Given the builds that Ryze is kind of on a bound to, when you hit item points like this, and Wonder doesn't even have a boots item, let alone free boots. He has 2 full-on offensive items. There's just no way for Hanabi to stand his ground against Wonder at 18 minutes. And while that affects the health bars in a 1v1, it also affects the map state around it, because both teams are clear on this reality.
You happy to keep playing these side lanes and getting their incremental advantages in each one of these spots as the duo lane comes down to the mid side. It's going to be a quick recall out of the Orianna here, as Rather's going to have to answer one of these pretty soon. As Top's about to be pressured out by Caps. He's got plenty of wave clear himself. Mickey X up to half HP, has to come away.
Remember, there's no teleport on Caps right now, so Flash Wolves technically do have the one extra answer with Rather on the Orianna, and they're sending Rather up top side to deal with that minion wave that Caps just pushed in. So right now in this small window where they're getting the recall off, they do have to be careful about that forced initiation.
But the setup right now is so precise, and it needs to be from Flash Wolves. With the comp they have, where they say, we win in group team fights, they only happen around an objective G2 has to fight around. Now, Infernal falls upon that purview. They want to invade this Infernal deck as fast as possible, push out one wave, draw up the Orianna, and make G2 come to them.
And Orianna needs to channel the teleport early if the fight's going to happen. Lee Sin goes in.
Great E by Shouse. He gets out of the road, and Yankos can only kick him backwards. That was well played. stays alive here. A Lee Sin ult down. Here's the TP. As G2 have already come down to fight for this one. Infernal Drake getting lower though. Smite fight comes in. What a pickup for Boogie. That's a great steal. And now this could be a 5-on-5. Where does G2 stand? Where does a Shockwave go? Nice true shot barrage gets Betty low. And Zonia's for Boogie. Stays alive. Realm Warp. Will it reach him? Doesn't necessarily need it, but does get away. That was clean on all fronts. Flash Wolves come out ahead.
We had eyes on Boogie, one of the newer guys on the team, and he comes up huge, stealing the Infernal Drake and getting out after the stopwatch.
And that means the team fight never happens and they get an advantage, which should almost never happen. In games like this, the map state on anything other than 5v5 should suit the team that has the beneficial side laners who are pushing up. So getting that steal and getting out clean means that it wasn't even about teamfight execution, it was just a smite button that went the way of Boogie.
Very nice stuff, though, and you can see 1-1 and 2, a pretty solid scoreline there. We get the slow motion version right over the wall, 400 health on that one.
That's just barely in range as well.
Yeah.
Smite range only slightly longer than that. Really, really clean stuff from Boogie, but also a little bit of luck in all of those.
But you need a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck sometimes, and you know, Kobe and I were talking about how their setup was a bit late. We never saw that early TP from the Orianna to group. They hadn't done their due diligence around wards. Flash Wolves hadn't set themselves up to take the Drake. It seemed like it would be a clean G2 take. So stealing it there is pretty big in the grand story of this game.
That's one of the best feelings as a jungler. Plus the fact that he was able to get out afterwards, nullifying the Nico ultimate. Definitely a big moment for one of the guys on the teams that has received a lot of criticism over the tournament.
Yeah, he'd been playing a little bit weaker so far at MSI, and Flash Wolves maybe playing a bit below expectations, maybe 2 expectations. People did think they were going to be weaker with a lot of their players leaving to the LPL earlier this year, but hoping to keep up and with what they were doing in the golden ages before, when they would always make the semifinals and always at least impress a little bit, have some good group stage games. Looking to fight back now against G2, who have been one of the pre-tournament favorites, and results have shown them to be quite solid as well, and still in fighting distance here, as Jankos could be found out in his jungle.
All right, let's see if they go for it. Jankos a little bit low on health as well.
Boom! Finds a taunt, finds Ignite, flashing away to not get hit by the E, though. That is Merc Treads at work, getting just barely away.
That was, again, another flash from Xiaoxi. So the flashes are actually traded here with the offensive Galio and the defensive Lee Sin.
Now, there's not a lot of Baron threat on top side, so Betty, with the control walls they have, actually looking to combo with Hanabi to find Wonder.
Realmore builds a bit of space as a slow into Wonder. Might not have a way out. Gonna pop the ult. Does not even get it off in time. A shutdown comes through, and Betty on the board with his first.
Huge punish there from Flash Wolves, but now Perks.
Oh, they might have the damage. You go into this one. The ult's gonna almost land. Still finds some more poke. A good flag and gets away, but a turret goes down to the top side. The 1-3-1, the split push. They lost a kill, but they got a turret for it.
Yep, mid lane as well, going to continue pushing here. Perks really pumping out the damage on that Ezreal without any kills or assists, has a 300 gold bounty because of the extra CS lead that he has.
Whoa, so aggressive, the flash! What a play out of Rather! Buys a bit of time, but still gets picked up. Now Galio finds himself a taunt. The burst damage comes through, Xiaoxi on the board, and now the dunk. This is Flash Wolves coming alive, 7 kills to 3.
Flash Wolves bite back, and the Baron is available. Only Caps and Wonder, the solo lanes of G2, will have anything to say about it. Does he choose his moment?
Looking at Baron, 4 versus 2. This looks very good for Flash Wolves. Smite is up for Boogie. This could be the most important point of this game, fighting back from a 2,000 gold deficit. And the MVPs at G2, Caps and Wonder, must do the work.
There's no ultimate for Wonder, so this is going to be hard.
He's going to try the dunk going forward towards how to be really good damage. Towards the Rise, staying alive, finds Root, flashing back to the pit. All they do is make Oh no! The smite is early. A kill comes through as well. Make it a second. The solo laners do absolutely everything for G2.
Oh my god. Caps is able to get it. I saw 45 health on the Baron. All right, we'll go back to the past.
Oh, Flash was so big here. This is no missed sombrero. This was a badass play in mid lane, and Flash was cleanup was huge.
Such a huge outplay there. You know, 4 rather in the mid lane, but then once again at the Baron, that ultimate 43 health left. Caps is able to get it with the AoE, and then look how he survived with sub 3-digit HP. They finish off all of the kills in addition to stealing Baron. The solo laners of G2 just completely rewrite history for the last 5 minutes. That play turning in their favor.
And Caps' first reaction to turn to his jungler and say, this is how you do it. He comes out there, picks it up, and remember, it's a a tale of two steals. The internal steal the Flash Wolves got to subvert, not even setting up for a team fight, but the second one for a 1-3-1 comp that wins in the side lanes to also have the Baron. That is usually a game ender.
That was actually ridiculous. It was an ultless Nico and Caps able to finish off all the kills, get the Baron for their team, and basically just take away that huge outplay that Rather had on Perks. That was his big moment. Flash Wolves trying to take control of the game, and G2 put a stop to it ever so quickly.
It's good that we had Raz and Dash take us through Silas. I don't remember the Baron steal point in their walkthrough, but it was pretty dead.
Now he's got a Lucian ult, puts it right back into Betty and says, I can also tag you. Doesn't look at the True Shot Barrage either, but push him off the wave for a little bit of time as the cannon keeps plugging away at that one. Top tier 2 already dead. G2 on 6 turret kills, and mid inhibitor already gone as well. Still a minute on this Baron buff, and the bot lane siege going pretty well as Nico is now splitting on the side, and it's a bit of a 1-0-4. We're waiting to knock down yet another turret, and that's going to be number 7. Flash Wolves, by the way, yet to grab an objective that isn't a Drake here. They haven't pushed any of these turrets. It's been full court press the entire time, and G2 have not let up.
Yeah, honestly, that last play just blew the game open in favor of G2. Caps on Silas has been an absolute monster today, and now G2, with the Baron buff, will continue the siege. Mid inhibitor's already dead, bottom inhibitor turret soon to follow.
Seems really likely here, unless you want to burn Shockwave for some wave clear. They can still put the poke down. They still got the pair of cannons. And finally, they're going to back off enough that some spells can come in. There's the ultimate use. It's culling for Betty to try to stop the bleeding. This turret can regen a little bit slowly as mid gets pushed in, so the XP is gained. Now Wonder gets some time as top falls to 75%, and G2 still with 23 seconds on this buff will push for one final turret if they can get it. Flash will sticking around, one more auto attack, and Perks will give some respect over. Drops to half, this could be the engage, but he gets some damage in. Nice Flash finds a knockup, Galio to follow, and the Flash misses! That could be 2 quick kills, and they will indeed get them that stopwatch. Probably not going to keep him alive. There's the final kill coming in. But look at the base. Now a dunk, look at a 2v1 for the solos as G2 gets back over the wall. Oh, just barely Hanabi stays alive, but no Nexus turrets will fall. Those kills give a bit of space for Flash Wolves as Captain Wonder still feels safe inside the opposing base.
Yep, they've been able to take the kills, but G2 have taken the base. 2 inhibitors down, 3 members. G2 actually still keeping up the pressure.
Realm up for disengage, not going to be stopped. Back towards the Raptors, take a little bit more gold. And G2 Esports, look at this, 7,000 gold ahead, and the base of their opponents in absolute shambles.
And the 2 kills definitely serve as band-aids for the wounds that we talked about that were inflicted by the Baron buff steal by G2, but you can see it doesn't really change the pressure. Yes, no further Nexus turrets will be taken now, but they can rinse, repeat, and if those ults don't hit as well as they did last time, G2 know they can continue to push down these base objectives.
They're certainly well equipped to continue to push out both sides here. Super minions are flooding down the map towards the Flash Wolves base, and G2 soon to follow.
And quick pickups of the Raptors as G2 are ready to keep going back out of the map. 80 seconds until Baron spawns. If they want, they can be defensive and wait and just make sure the vision comes down and take Baron number 2 as their way to win the game. This one maybe earned a bit more earnestly, a bit more of a normal way, but they can keep going for the aggression instead. And we look down to the bottom side as Tom Kench brings a friend as well, as Wonder is here to help this one out, and Hanabi doesn't really have much of a place to go. You've got 4 down there. Wonder grabs the kill, a spree for him. 4-2-2 as G2 look to close it out before the Baron even spawns.
Yeah, I don't think Baron will be on the menu today. G2 are going straight for the victory. Bottom lane is the only inhibitor left standing, and that's where they'll start.
47 seconds in the major objective, but the Nexus is in their eyes. The inhibitor going to be picked up no problem there. 30 seconds on Rise, and a 4 versus 5 defense might be required as they walk away from the possible taunt flash. Make sure that one's still safe, but they can keep on moving forwards now. 1 turret a bit healthy, 1 at full HP, but they're also pushing in, waiting for their waves to come in.
And waves are pretty far, 20 seconds, so Hanabi should actually respawn before multiple minion waves crash.
They've got Cataclysm going, it might just be that inside the base. No damage to the True Shot Barrage, but still putting in shots towards that turret. 1 more auto, there it goes. Another one left alive, and now watch out for Wonder. Not taunted, not knocked up either. Redemption buys a bit of space. Caps dives in, but he's going to be knocked down as well. So one kill picked up and a flash away from the Pop Blossom. Keeps the rest of Flash Wolves alive. Looking at the second kill, but nice save by Mickey X. Brings Wonder back out of safety. Here comes Realm Warp, though. Looking for a possible re-engage. Lee Sin's going to land the Q, but not going to go in for any much more of this one. 4v5 inside the base. Flash Wolves need to find a way to defend this one and kick back. Getting Orianna out of stopwatch buys a few more seconds, but Jankos certain to be taunted until he can flash away. Safeguards back to his teammate, and they're going to stay alive now as well. G2 still navigating the 4v5. Mickey X a bit low, but that shield is not going to get him much of anything. The gray health won't be any HP back in the pool. Still sieging though. 4v5. G2 not going to be stopped. Hanabi at about 3 HP has to walk away from minion aggro, and the Orianna actually drops down to all the poke. Nice damage out of Nico, and the siege continues. G2 will not be pushed off of their opponents. Going for a 30-minute victory right here. Looking at 3-1 on the scoreline as a bit of minor wave clears with all that Flash Wolves can do. Still waiting around that last little bit of effort. Another kill coming in for them. Looking at a couple more points in the KDA as Betty has to kite back in. One kill in for the Rise. Look out for the Nexus, but still some damage coming through. And finally, G2 might just be pushed off the base. A shield, a runaway for Lee Sin. Out they go. Flash Wolves will breathe one sigh of relief, but there is only a single building left inside their base.
A sigh of relief, a gasp, that's about all you can do. They just about bought enough time to get a full reset. As you get closer and closer to the Nexus, you have to group up, and that's where the teamfight comp can try to use their tools. But you could see how impervious G2 were. They have so much sustain and poke that their health bars were dying before they got in range of G2's 4 men.
Yeah, G2 going for the fancy plays at the end, trying to get the extra kills rather than focus on the objectives. And Baron may be back on the menu, Freak, so you may get one more purple buff.
Right,
all the super minions are coming down, and G2 will still have control of the map, so it should be an easy choice for them.
This time G2 grabbed their Infernal. No enemy jungler around to steal it away, and this time Baron, no one anywhere near them on the map. Flash Wolves the other side of this one. And even Tom Kenchkala says this one doesn't really matter what happens in. There's the pickup. Yanko doesn't need to burn the spike and save it for later. And this is a huge lead for the squad right now as G2 can push in that final little bit of the base.
And your question when you're watching these replays is always, could they have just clicked on the Nexus and ended the game realistically? And that's always something to keep in the back of your mind. Wonder definitely missed a couple autos onto the Nexus here, but I think overall, there was enough staying power with Hanabi fighting at the bottom side of the screen in order to keep this game going just a little longer.
All right, well, the time has come. Baron empowered G2. One inhibitor has respawned for the Flash Wolves. Can they rally around that respawn? Because it won't last very long.
It's going to be difficult to wave for this one. The minions nearly impervious to champion damage. Inhibitor knocked down for the 5th time into this, and now one final push. There's the inhibitor engage, flashing into the back line, looking for a kill, and it's going to be the shutdown. 1 for 0 already. Make it a second one, make it a third. G2 just walking over Flash Wolves. You knew it had to happen. They find the ace. The Nexus right in front of them in G2, 3-1 to close out day 2.
Wonder the backline assassin there on the Nico to clean up the Lucian first, and from there the hearts and the backs of Flash Wolves were broken. This one was all about those 2 steals. The Infernal really gave extra life into the team fight wombo combo comp that Flash Wolves have drafted, but a 43 health Baron stolen away by that Cap Silas. Don't know how many more Silas picks he'll get over the course of MSI 2019.
This game had some great moments for both teams.
Yeah.
G2 executing very well early. Jankos on star display here, setting up the solo laners, which is just what they needed for their 1-3 run. Then able to execute it for the majority of the early game until Flash Wolves found their spectacular team fight. Rather with the outplay, flashing in with the Orianna ult to punish Perks.
Yeah.
But all that can be rewritten with a steal.
Yep. That one was brutal. That definitely took the wind out of the sails. The amount of immediate the goal, the Baron buff power play there was insane, and the 3-lane play was very straightforward.
It's a memory that Boogie's going to keep in his mind for a while, and Flash Wolves fans as well. No jungler opposing him. Smited just simply too early by about 50 health. That fight looks different with a Baron buff on this squad, but that is how it shook down. G2, definitely the better team. We've got the Flash Wolves down to 1-3, sadly, but we've got the State Farm analyst desk ready to talk about that game. Take it away, Dash.
Thank you, Freak. 3-1 for G2 Esports at the end of the second day here at MSI Groups, but we have to talk about the solo laners coming from G2 here in the context of this game and some of the games that have preceded this one. They are absolute monsters. Wonder and Caps.
They're the superstars.
That's your go-to?
Break.
No! Let's celebrate these guys.
I did.
Wait.
That's not a celebration, Deficio. Give me something.
Do you need a real LEC caster to take over from here?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a burn.
The stage is yours.
The fact is that when you have names like Wonder and Caps, these guys can create miracles. They can just win you a game on brand power alone. The outmaneuver mechanically and the hero play, especially when it came down to that Baron moment, completely changed the course of the game. And that's why they are such a threat and so potent in this tournament.
Just rather giving them opportunities to come into this one. So Flash Wolves, it starts off with them playing this one out so well. Sure, it starts out with Perks making a poor decision to go in there. Tom Kench not really getting a heads up play to be able to say, okay, you jumped in, the Flash comes in, maybe I can eat you up. But then you see this moment, and you're just like, how? Proto Belt to be able to steal Baron.
And then the flash here from Wonder on the flag and drag. See ya, nerd.
That's beautiful.
That feels bad, because all the LMS hopefuls, fans out there, this should be your game. Like, out of everything, you finally have an exceptional Rather performance. They get to the Baron buff, and you're like, what?
And it's reminiscent of a game we saw earlier today.
It's true.
Team Liquid getting a team fight win over IG, goes directly to Baron. Guess what's standing between them and the Baron? The solo laners for IG.
Yes.
Another superstar who's able to claw back and have one of those game-winning moments for his squad.
And I feel like this is actually the gap that people will have to transverse. You have to have these X factors, these superstars on your team when you come into a Champions tournament where you have Faker, where you have Rookie, where you have the Shy, where you have Wonder, where you have Caps. If you don't have one of those names, that's why you're coming in third. That's why you're coming in fourth. And that's why you're not competing to the top echelon.
Yeah, and that's a really difficult thing now as a team when you're looking towards the games tomorrow, because you can't just get a better mid laner or top laner. You're not allowed to just randomly, make a big roster change and get someone in there or get a player from one of the other teams. You can't. So you have to find other ways to start winning these games here. I think it's very telling that it's the G2 bot lane who dies at this turret, who gets caught out. We saw Jackulov die for IG, the TL series, and having to then rely on the superstar mid laners, on these super, super powerful picks like Akali, like Sylas in this case, to actually then keep you in the game or, let's say, stop the Baron from happening and therefore stop the enemy team from coming back. And it's really hard to practice that. It's really hard to make a strategy around it, but it's the kind of star power you must have if you're going to win MSI.
And I want to put some focus onto Wonder here as well, because when Wonder got his Nico pick, a lot of times there was mistakes being made. Guess what they do? They back up, say we have our win condition, split push, find myself in a side lane. We don't get to see that a lot in this tournament, even from the best of teams. The Shy oftentimes will be like, I can split push, or I can join the fight. But it's Wonder who recognizes that he still has split push over the Rise in this situation, goes back, and so suddenly Flash was like, I thought we just won the last fight. Why are we still getting pushed in?
I actually love that point, and I think when we keep saying that IG and G2 are the exact same team is disingenuous to the intimate details of where they separate. And one of them is how they play lane assignments, particularly the fact that G2 seem more likely than Invictus Gaming to play towards that side lane versus collapsing. And when we see these teams face, hopefully in a best of 5 at some point in this tournament, I think that's the make or break difference. Who got the collapse? Who played the side lane at the correct moment?
Well, while the superstars here on the stage have been giving us hype plays to get excited about, MasterCard has been putting the best esports fans in the spotlight by surprising fans of the day with official Riot merch throughout MSI. A couple from Ho Chi Minh City was happy to watch their beloved SKT defeat PvB earlier, and along with 2 other Invictus Gaming fans, they received a limited edition Earth plushie. Well, we'll see who will be celebrating after our last game, SKT or IG. That one's coming up soon, but before we get to that match, we'll get some insight from Mickey X, who's standing, or rather joining Shox backstage.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm joined here by Mickey X as G2 goes 3-1 in the group stage so far, taking down the Flash Wolves. Watching it looked a bit like you guys were playing fast and loose and a bit random at times. Is that also what it felt like in the game, and why do you think that was?
Yeah, it felt a bit weird because I felt like early game went really well for us. At least on bot lane, we were not supposed to win it early, I think, because we kind of outscale. So I was like pretty confident in the early game. It was pretty nice. But then mid jungle died 2v2, and then top lane died as well. And I was like, yeah, a lot of random stuff happening until, well, we kind of died mid and then went Nash, and then we stole Nash somehow because we have the European, the Shy and Rookie on our mid top, and then just killed them 2v4. and then we kind of won from that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did work out in the end. You are 3-1. How would you say you have been doing in the duo lane together with Perks? Of course, this is the first time internationally that you guys play together in that lane.
I think lane phase-wise, don't think anyone was that good so far that we've played. I think we kind of came out on top in every 2v2 lane. It's just after lane, we do a few hiccups here and there. So yeah, if we fix that, we should be pretty good.
Yeah. Would you say overall it's all about cleaning up mistakes, and are you happy with your level so far?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at least, except against IG, it was mostly draft, which also a bit of a error, but I think it should be easily fixable, and I think next time we got him.
Okay, next time you got him. Final question, of course. We are very interested to hear how it's going with your hand, with your wrist. What can you tell us, if at all, about the situation?
I mean, it's definitely a lot better. I can't really feel much pain anymore, so yeah, it's just pretty nice compared to a few months ago, and I think it should be fine for the rest of the tournament and even summer. So.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. That is very positive to hear. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you playing the rest of the games as well. Thank you very much, Mickey. G2 so far, 3-1. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, IG takes on SKT. Don't miss it.
Flopful's gonna get the better of that. Stun comes in, though. Caps wants his fight. Does have the dunk, comes in. Shockwave to follow up, though. And the 2-on-2 continues. Health bar is quite low, though. Caps running out of health. Did they have the damage? He flashes, but he's the wrong way on the map. And he's gonna drop down as well. The Nox gonna land a double kill
Because of the extra CS lead that he has.
Whoa, so aggressive, the flash! What a play out of Rather! Vali's got a bit of time, but still gets picked up now. Gallia finds himself a taunt. The burst damage comes through. Shall see on the board. Gonna try the dunk going forward towards Hana. Really good damage towards the Rise, staying alive. Finds Root, flashing back to the pit. All they do is make
Blackjar, what are you doing? I love you. Thank you so much.
Whoa, Jess, what the frickety frick? Whoa!
The whole gifting subs thing, that is magical.
从以前开始一直觉得 Faker 是所有的职业选手里面最大的一些门一样，就是我们一定要超他，但是没有一个人能超他的人。我个人一直都想着像 SKT 一样成为跟他一样的就是战队，不管打什么比赛都一定能打出好成绩。
After watching Worlds, after watching Rookie make every top mid laner in the world just look bad, I was like, ooh, if he does that to Faker too, I don't think SKT can win.
IG가 작년에 우승을 했기 때문에 역시 강력한 우승 후보인 것은 확실하지만 제가 평가하기에는 저희 팀이 조금 더 경쟁력 있을 수 있다고 생각합니다.
我毕竟打了这么多年，面对他的时候不能像弟弟一样，一定要打出自己的实力。
Welcome back to day 2 of the MSI group stage, where legends are clashing in Game 6. Invictus Gaming versus SKT. Since his debut back in 2013, Faker was regarded as the best player in the world until last year, where Rookie and IG took control over the mid lane and the world title. Now today, those two superstars face off in a much anticipated matchup.
And the reality is there are just certain benchmarks in League of Legends. You must win at MSI, you must win Worlds, and you must beat Faker. And Rookie gets the opportunity to grab the triple crown here if he can go through Faker to pick up his MSI title.
They match up against each other so few, but it seems like stylistically it's like the sword versus the shield. When it was KT versus SKT, it was Kakao and Rookie going up against Bengi and of course Faker. So the matchup is the type that you want to see versus like the best in the world and how everyone views as the second best. That's actually, to be fair, even when I say that, there are still some people thinking that Faker's the best out there.
I mean, I think Faker, he has a chance in this game here to knock Rookie down. You know, that would be actually a big surprise, I think, to many right now, because Faker, he's no longer the huge superstar on SKT. It's actually a lot of the members around him that we're looking towards, but Faker has experience, and it's something he can use together with maybe his support or his jungler to come towards the mid lane where we know Rookie are going to be playing aggressive, while Faker so far this tournament, he's sat back. He's been more of a wave clear machine.
And as a contrast, while I still think Rookie's on top of his craft as a mid laner, I still think he's the best in the world. For him, it's almost similar to Faker, where this year, 2018 and 2019, when it was him taking a step back and realizing the Shy can put in work as well. Ning is as aggressive as he is. And the former Invictus Gaming was one where he had to hard carry, not the case anymore.
But I'm so curious what the look is going to be from this guy on your screen right now. Rookie has been known to be a very emotional player. I know this means the world to Rookie. He has always wanted his chance. Fans have always wanted this timeline where you get to see Rookie and Faker really clash, these two titans. And I think that says it all right there. Rookie knows how important this is. So what look are you going to get? Are you going to get Rookie saying, this is fine, I can let someone like the Shy pick it up? Or are you going to get Rookie saying, no, this is my time to prove that I am the greatest mid laner?
See, that's the Rookie I want to see in this game. Like, he is so good every single time we see him play. No matter who he is against in the mid lane, we can hype up that mid lane as much as we want. He plays Rookie, he's down 30 CS, his turret is going to die early. Like, it doesn't matter who it is so far. I want to see him do the exact same thing to Faker.
Yeah, I want to see that. And I think a lot of it is going to be on the junglers to be able to amplify their work. Klid and Ning, they're going to be the ones that are really being judged on how these mid laners are going to be get out of the laning phase.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we can contextualize this whole matchup by, again, reiterating that both of these teams are the #1 team in their region. And while it could be argued that Faker is not at peak Faker performance of, say, Season 3 and 4 and 5, when he was looked at as quite obviously the best player in the world, the teams themselves in their regions are the best. And so it will be about how they come together around these two superstar mid laners to ultimately challenge for victory. We've got a look at the trophy, what they're both playing for here today, and we're going to toss it out to the casters as the teams head into Champion Select.
Thank you very much. It is time for Rookie versus Faker, Invictus Gaming versus SK Telecom T1. And SKT's return to form started with winning the LCK once again. They'd taken some time off from being the most dominant team in Korea. They've gotten that one back. But winning the LCK is no longer the proof that you're the best team in the world. Beating IG is the proof that you're the best team in the world. And the road starts here for SKT.
And SKT have been slowly building to a match like this, to a game against the world champions. They had to watch on, and Faker in particular had to watch on the sidelines. Every time Worlds goes to Korea, he's just going to be a stream viewer. But today, in MSI, he gets to battle Rookie, a battle that's happened so rarely since he joined IG. Just 2 games, and none of them in MSI or World.
And let's jump into this Champion Select, because this last ban from IG, so respectful. After Klid's Rek'Sai game today, absolutely dominating, they're gonna last ban the Rek'Sai. And as much as everyone has always wanted to see Faker versus Rookie, Ning and Klid have fought in the LPL, 2 of my favorite LPL junglers, because of how explosive they are and key components in setting up these solo laners. First flex pick of Rise does get through.
Tarek could be with the Sona. Tarek could just enable dives for Klid and the rest of SKT. That's even a little bit flexible right now, but already Champ Select looks spicy.
Faker with a bit of a smirk on his face. He was interviewed and talked about how other teams could play the off-meta stuff, the different stuff, like the Sona Tarek. That was the example he used. Tarek has already claimed, will it be Jackie Loves Draven as an answer?
I love this. Again, every time the Sona Tarek comes up, we talk about the 2 schools of thought with trying to take over this lane. Do you have a non-interactive one and go for roaming? Don't let the Sona get her procs on you. Or do you go for the kills? And Draven, I think you know which school of thought that champion lies in.
It's Invictus Gaming. Of course they're going for the kills, Kobe. It's all they know. It's all they love. And it's Sona Tarek versus, you would have to imagine, Draven and Nautilus.
They have locked it in. If SKT does get out of the laning phase without dying and giving over adoration stacks, they've got all the support they need to let Faker and Duke and Khan pop off in these team fights. The Irelia going to get the shields, going to get the invulnerability. She can do a lot of work later on in these team fights. But as you mentioned, it's that bot lane, it's the spiciness. Nautilus and Draven going to look for those kills on Sona.
And we're going to have to be on top of our game because, gentlemen, 2 games in a row, we had those non-interactive bot lanes. We told all the viewers, watch top side, it's Ezreal Tom Kench going to be a farm phase. This is the sort of bot lane that is going to draw attention on both sides.
Draven just shouts, look at me, and you better be here if you're the jungler, because there's so much possibility of snowballing off this bottom side. If Draven Nautilus does not get early kills, does not cash in on the Draven passive, then once again, the inevitable Sona Tarek team fight comes to fruition in the mid game.
That's the word I would use, the inevitability of where Khan and you would imagine Khan on this area, but Aurelia, Tarek, and Sona go is very much team fight and specifically Baron control. The vision comes down, you got more vision, more team fight synergy. We'll see how the second round can go as SKT probably looking to the jungle.
Oh, gotta wait to see. Of course, we want to keep the other champion flexible, but Silas is, of course, still up throughout the first 6 picks and 10 bans. So Aurelia and Silas gonna be the pickups there again. Well supported to run around in these teamfights with all the shields and vulnerability. This comp will work well in the 5-on-5s. We will wait to see their jungler as IG will grab Ning's champion first, but also now knowing where those solo laners are, we get to look at the Shy on something aggressive to win those lane matchups. However, Renekton maybe instead of Kennen.
All right, Kennen with the on hit definitely has a huge potential to take over on the top side. We've seen the emergence of the Gunblade build as well, so you can still have the big AP effect later on in the game. But again, we're saving the jungler picks until last pick. This is why I was so hyped for this matchup here. The choices that go into how you're going to play out this game now that there is a Sona Tarek versus Draven bottom lane. Ning's going to bring back the Camille after she has been all but eliminated from the jungle by the nerfs to not being able to stun jungle camps.
She's been nerfed for farming, but she's still damn good at killing. So bot side Camille control is implied. The Lee Sin, the comfort for Klid is still up.
This is absolutely insane, the draft that we're getting in this game. We're going to have Ning on his Camille. Will he use his skin? He's going to be such a big difference maker. Can he snowball the Draven, get those adoration stacks going, or will Klid once again dominate.
And level 1 here is so important. SKT's level 1 plan, make Camille's jungle path predictable. If it is unknown, yes, we do predict bot side, but level 2 Camille's going to be finding a lane that she likes to look up.
Now, these are the matchups you're going to see on screen. I don't expect any more movements here from these sides. Going to be such an exciting battle. Invictus Gaming, the best team in the world. SK Telecom Team 1, the best team of all time. I think that is undisputable right now. SKT, top 2 team coming into the tournament. They did fall to G2, but you can turn some heads right now with a win right here. Rookie always said, I have to take down Faker to prove that I am the best. A tournament's not the same without Faker and SKT being here. Well, this MSI, Faker and SKT are in your way, IG, and so far they have not dropped a single game. SKT, the next team in front of them here, the one team that stops them from being 4-0 to continue that proof that IG are the best in the world.
Tournament of Champions, and now we're going to have the clash that everyone was waiting for. Group stages, a single best of 1, SKT versus IG.
Two of the best teams in the world defending world champions Invictus Gaming and SKT, the historical best team of all time, piloted still by Faker in the mid lane, the best player of all time, and no one would ever dispute you on that. And level 1 already spicy, but the hook not yet going to land. There might be a re-engage already, a stun, and the fight has continued.
We're doing it!
Damage output, Rookie's already dead. Clint finds the first. They're traded back. Some adoration for Draven, but the fight might continue as Ning's got to run away. Some damage out towards Battleland, the flash over, and the flash over for another one as TP rejoins the fight, and Rookie is back in action.
Teleport already used. You can tell these players are on the edges of their seats. IG tries to check the bush, but there they go again. They get the snare.
He's on the edge of his life now as well, down to 300, flashing back to his mid lane, and this game is not disappointing.
Guess what? Draven got the kill for Invictus Gaming. Meanwhile, Clid on the Lee Sin gets SK Telecom's early gold. I honestly think that both teams are kind of happy with where that money went.
And the reason why IG keep this up, we'll get to that though, we'll focus on the start. The blind hook misses, and then the double dazzle heralds the first blood. It goes the way of SKT, but Sona in the meanwhile is just so brittle at level 1.
Yep, flash used as well, so Teddy will not have either summoner, nor will Nautilus on the bottom side. Then both Faker and Balon switching spots there.
So the reason why IG keeps on the invade is they want to take over the bot side of the map. There's vertical jungling where Sona and Taric don't have their jungler bot side, with summoners down. That means that Draven can do things like this.
No items purchased for either Lee Sin or Draven, but Battleland playing aggressively in the bottom side does go in for that hook. They're really trying to take advantage of this matchup.
Oh, stuns down for Faker to land the stun though for Ning is plenty of damage in a rune prison, and Ning claps back the mid lane.
And that's the extended benefit. They invade the blue side jungle. They know that SKT has no idea when Ning kicks it off, and Ning kicks it off with another gank.
And that is the exact reason he's got the skin he's using now. Ning, the level 2 red buff into gank, targeting Faker. Greatest player of all time, down.
We got a moment to breathe, but not much more than that, as there's already a fight in the jungle. Clip drops a bit low as well, takes plenty of damage to the hands of Ning. Can't quite get the kill, but puts down a 200 HP and forces an early recall out of Lee Sin. Now stuck inside no man's land. I don't know if this dive is going to be easy. Aftershock should be available. Baolan can pull aggro, and he's going to look in for Teddy. Plenty of damage there. Draven free hitting. Here comes Clint, though. Looks to answer one back. The health bar's low. Clint does indeed knock down Ning, but Draven finds yet another. It's 2 kills to 1. Invictus winning yet another fight, and Matza a bit alone, but the health bar is so low, it's just an auto attack, and then out goes IG.
Yeah, Jackie Love and Baolan, I think they're a little bit too low to finish off a continued dive there, but the objective is completed. They take him down, and now mid lane Faker again!
Faker, a Q would kill him! Oh, he's gonna get able to walk away from this one. The turret was gonna push back Rookie, but this game is still fighting constantly. 1100 gold puts IG ahead.
And this is why it's so bold to pick Sona Taric, a lane that can't brawl early, against IG, the early game powerhouses. We watch the replay here. They hit the stun, but Clid does stick around.
Yeah, he's going to try and come down. Does get the extra kill there. Jackie Love flashes for the second kill there on Draven. Cashes in a tiny bit more. I don't think he's been catching that many axes in the meantime, but the bigger reward, double buffs down there in the bottom side against no flash Sona, no flash Taric.
And I want to draw the viewers' attention to an important piece of information that may have gone missed. There's never been a Sona Taric game played professionally with a Korean team in it. There was no games in the promotion tournament, no games in the final, and the word was that even in scrims, Korean teams weren't playing Sona Taric. So the first look we see is SKT locking it in against IG. Definitely giving themselves a handicap in the early game, and IG already super bloodthirsty.
BF sword at 4 minutes makes for good laning phases right now. And keep in mind, in a matchup like this with Sona Taric, you track the 80 carry on the one side, Jackie Love, for support on the other. And another stun now on towards Faker. The friends have arrived. He does not have a good way out in Camp Faker. Population 3 as another kill comes through. A 30 CS Aurelia is dead.
Yeah, I mean, you understand why the Sona Taric would want to leave that lane, but Baolan also says, you know what? I can roam as well. He didn't even have that much impact here. It's Ning again on his signature Camille. Goes in, camping mid, gets the stun onto Faker. Jackie Love has pushed up the bottom lane in the meantime.
And they're finding yet another entrance. Got more kills and assists than minutes in the game. And now number 6. And they give it over to Jackie Love on a killing spree 5 minutes in. They are slaughtering through the jungle matchup.
There's nowhere safe for Sona and Taric to go. They're in proxy between minion waves as they try to get there. Jackie Love going to get free time on the bot side. A couple of shops later, Sona hasn't even upgraded her GP10 item.
I gotta say, a lot of junglers stopped using Camille after the nerfs. Like you admittedly said, were mostly targeted at farming. Ning is not farming jungle monsters. Ning is farming champions, constantly getting these engages, landing the stuns for his teammates, and now IG set up for tremendous success only 5.5 minutes into the game.
More kills than minutes, always a great sign for an LPL team, and IG firing on all cylinders. The Shy maybe not going to be a major factor in this one. Maybe the best player in the world.
Free.
He's not as important. Yeah, poor bot lane for SKT. It's level 5 and 4 versus 4 and 3. They've got an XP lead. They've got Ning coming by for round number 4 down here. You got to be careful if you're Mata and Teddy. Faker now laning bot lane. Just make sure they can get 2 CS. As Mata has found number 11. He was on 10 2 minutes ago.
And it's just that. Faker being there doesn't even allow them any safety. The tower's still going to go down. IG are not only going to get those mid plates, but also in the mid lane, Rookie has been able to push up those minions, and Clid was the only one left to defend. He can't stop the rise pressure either. This is absolute domination from the defending world champions.
There's 4 control wards on the bot side. That's why you have to take the longest way around. It's a trios lane in the bot lane, not a duo lane, whether it's jungler or Faker rotating through, but it doesn't change anything. Bot lane win is inevitable, and the timer on Teddy and Mata having their items together is so far away. Mata, as you say, the champion picking up CS, he's been on 11 for a couple of minutes.
This is one of those games where the top laners are both like, question mark, what's going on, guys? They don't have too much to say about this game, just farming on the top side. Meanwhile, IG just completely sweeping the map on the bottom.
And coming into the tournament, people called Teddy and Mata maybe the best bot lane in the world. And right now, they are being handily dismantled by Jackie Love Baolan and, of course, these roams from Ning. Now, yes, the first blood came through very early on, or at least the Adoration first kill during level 1, but didn't shop with that. It was several kills in that he got his BF.
Party time!
More partying towards Faker, gonna find himself a stun and a flash over the wall, nearly anchor tossed anyway, and Ning flashing for it regardless. They're gonna have the root, they're gonna have plenty of damage, but you've got Clid here, gonna find some damage, but not enough as another kill comes in at 7-2. 100% KP for Ning. Now a fight in the top lane, trading, slicing maelstroms, but the Shy getting the better of that trade.
Yep, Baolan gonna take a visit as well, comes over in wards, but Khan will be able to slip out. And once again, Ning flashing for it this time around, forces the engage onto Faker, and they get the kill once again.
There's over a 5,000 gold lead, and we're 8 minutes in the game. IG is threatening to just roll over the top of them before the turret plates go down.
1,900 gold on either bot lane there, less than everyone else in this game. SKT as Clid actually should be able to... Yeah, Ning seems to have come out, not going to find the ward up into the queue, so he's going to stay alive on this one. as an Ocean Drake makes the landing phase even easier for an IG that's already ahead. Now Baolan found out, does have a level deficit here, finds the aftershock, nice kick, puts him right in the face of Khan, but the damage could be a little bit high. Look at how low this poor Silas is. The anchor toss, if it's up in a second, I'm not going to have it just yet. Dredgeline won't find a target, but now Rookie walking through a ward. He's spotted over here as the bot lane keeps pushing in. Faker could look for a bit of a battle against Jackie Love despite his level deficit. Doesn't have nearly as many items. Bloodthirster completed makes that pretty easy.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Level 7 Draven with Bloodthirster on top side though.
What you doing, boy? 4v3, not going to find the stun. Teddy flashing over the wall, gets a bit of damage, but no. Even with better numbers, SKT can't find that fight at all.
Yeah, it's going to be completely in IG's favor. Bottom side, the Draven just abusing Faker here.
Got a full Bloodthirster. He can just sustain through any all-in attempts from Faker. The lane assignments here are so flexible, but for SKT, they're just desperately trying to find any sense of equality around the map.
It's going to be hard to do. This turret now down about half HP. A single Trinket Ward keeps him pretty safe, but I think they saw Teddy coming down with that control ward, and we've got a quick intermission here. Invictus Gaming just slaughtering. We're not even 10 minutes in, and it's 19k to 13.5.
I still think it's just so cool that Ning is doing this back on the Camille, that Riot devs themselves made an effort to remove from the jungle and make purely a top lane champion, but he's going to say, this is still my champion, and he's going to make it work in such a snowbally fashion. Remember that Camille doesn't have a lot of fallback patterns now in the jungle. If it doesn't look like this and snowball very effectively ahead, you don't land those stuns, then you can get punished so heavily for this. So it definitely does take a lot of confidence to be able to do something like
It's almost like a roam pick rather than a purely jungle pick, because the clear of the jungle was irrelevant, very secondary consideration in this game. It was purely to punish what Sona and Taric represent. Very much a white flag in the early game. We're farming out in our awkward fashion with melee range Taric and Sona stacking up the spell face in that fashion that she does, poking around. That never could happen this game. They were proxied off minion waves for so long. And yes, it really only works for some, but when you have a game plan with Camille, her gank threat at level 2 onwards is undeniable.
Definitely very strong. Of course, talking about those changes to Camille from way back when, it was removing the stun onto jungle monsters, somewhat regionally gained some base attack speed to keep her clear a little bit better, to soften that slightly, but as you mentioned, very few players are playing the champion.
And that basic attack speed that was given back was actually nerfed previously to that during the original nerfs as well, so it wasn't like an extra bunch of power added on.
Regardless, you can see here it was a pause on, it looks like for Mata, it was definitely SKT's side, talking with the refs, getting translation and seeing exactly what's going on here with this. Hopefully doesn't take too much longer, but when we have a further update, that will be delivered to you. The plan for IG, even though the Shy maybe has a run for best player in the world overall right now, maybe even above Rookie, above Faker, above all these other players, this game is very clearly not about him anymore. They saw that Taric pickup at the end of that first phase of the draft. They said, okay, this game is about bottom lane right now. Pick up the Draven, pick up the Nautilus. Round 2, we'll pick up that Camille, and we're going to kill those champions.
Yeah, I would say top lane is the only lane that this game is not about, because mid lane also dominating here. It was the level 2 gank towards mid with the Rise Rune Prison that started everything off.
And lanes in general are so flexible right now because Sona Taric aren't going bot anytime soon. They need somewhere, a short lane, a safe lane. They need some ward coverage, and they couldn't find that in the bot lane from very, very early. It feels like we should pat ourselves on the back. We said watch bot side, and there's been just a huge amount of kills there. You can see the end result with the pause at 934. We're looking at around 5,500 gold lead. I just want to keep the pedal to the metal. They want to keep going. It's a big shop already. I believe Warrior Enchant's already done for the Camille. They want to just continue to bulldoze through.
And guess what? With this much money, you can buy a very nice car to keep that pedal to the metal.
Say a very nice bulldozer, honestly. You talk about that one. They've got, an upgraded engine and all the spoilers tagged on it as well. You mentioned the aggression coming out here, and I want to kind of commend Ning's sort of adaptation. Yes, the plan was probably coming in about bot lane, but Faker burned Flash during the level 1. They knew he was a target up until 7 minutes into the game, so as long as you have Rune Prison by level 2, walks over there is no way out for the Aurelia, who's missing a Flash and is going to get Rune Prison into Camille stun into taking 700 damage.
If you think about a game where lots of summoners are down level 1, Flashes in particular, and you think, who are champions that can punish that? Camille is the number 1. And as we explained, the flow-on effect of that early brawl was there's no deep vision on either side. No one knew Camille where she would start, and she knew all the lanes that were set up for her to punish. So there was actually the level 1 brawl. With the first blood, you might be baited into thinking, okay, SKT, a bit of gold onto some of their scalers, they'll get there easier. No, the immediate impact was punished, and by the 5-minute flash cooldowns later, a lot of this game was already won by IG.
Yeah, it was actually the perfect level 1 with mid and bottoms flashes being used early. Easy target. He did such a good job, though, of also finding Clid in the jungle to harass him out first, so there wasn't any sort of turnaround. And that has brought us to this 9.5-minute mark, where now we're sitting in a situation where Invictus Gaming, undefeated currently, and the huge lead over SKT means that, as people predicted, this is 100% the team to beat at the tournament. The defending world champions absolutely dominating.
I mean, we have the benefit of a pause screen that actually has the items at the moment on. And so at 9:34, as we noted already in the trades, Draven has a Bloodthirster and boots. For comparison, Khan, who's been happily farming, has a Ruby Crystal, boots, and a Dark Seal. Compared to a Finnish Bloodthirster on the enemy AD carry, he's the only person above 100 CS as well, is the Draven. Like right now, this game state, you want to just take a picture of it and remember it, because there'll probably never be a game quite like SKT versus IG in this best of 1.
It's going to be unlikely to find something this good this early on. Either way, while League officials are investigating the issue on stage, we're going to check in with the analysts as we take a look at a replay of this kill in the bottom lane. You can see plenty of damage in, and even if you didn't have any summoners up, of course, those were also burned.
Thank you very much, Freak. I believe that's the replay we'll be looking at a little bit later. I'm Quickshot, joined here by Raz and Azael. We were getting ourselves ready for MSI cooldown before the technical pause came in, and while the officials are taking a look at the PC, we can chat about the first 10 minutes of gameplay. Invictus Gaming, 5,500 gold up. They're just styling on SKT and Azael, like... You know, this is just IG making a statement.
Yeah, I mean, they said you're never going to see another game like this. My old FlexU team ran into TSM one time. It looked a little bit like that, you know? We got stomped pretty hard too, but I think it's just insane how dominant IG are looking. And when you compare how they are playing here to how they played in playoffs and how they played in knockouts at the world stages, it almost just feels like they're just having fun. Like they are not always playing the cleanest of games. They're willing to take every single fight, but they're dominating despite it. No matter how messy these games get, they still seem to be taking control. I mean, there are things where I just don't think Rookie would be doing it if he was really taking it, you know, the most serious, the most hardcore play to win. Like level 1, they get the first blood, he dies. He TP's back in while it's still level 1. What are you going to do in that fight? You're not even going to be able to rejoin. And then against TL, when he's TPing in on the Akali at 30% health with no ult and trying to kill Doublelift.
Thing is, though, I am hearing the players are busy going through ready checks. So Raz, like, are you surprised by this bravado that Invictus are showing? They are 3-0 up, and they're still winning games despite the haphazard call.
Oh, not at all. Like, best of 1s, you learn the most off of that as well. And they're the type of players that they are so confident in their own capabilities. When they see Sona Target, we haven't seen Sona Target at all in the LPL. Like, while the rest of the world are going for it, in the LPL, we have our options like the Leona and the bot side of the map. This time around, you're going up against IG, and you have a Draven one trick of the past. It's like, why not, right? So, especially off of that level 1 where Draven gets that first kill, they just look for the immediate dive in the bottom side of the map because the Camille was ready for that.
I guess the thing that I want to point out is that, yes, I agree that the decisions they're making are unequivocally bad. However...
So at times, only...
At times, like, you know, like you said, teleporting in at level 1 after you've died, or TPing in to chase Doublelift when you have 30% HP with no ultimate. Those are bad calls.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, when you step back, when they are undefeated in the group and they're still winning the games, like, how much pressure do we put there, Azael?
I mean, I just think they have so much confidence that they can play their way out of any situation, essentially, right? They have so many individually talented players that they are willing to take fights in these scenarios.
Azael, they are willing to take fights. We're going to head back to the casters as we're back in game.
Thank you very much, analysts, for buying time for us. We had apparently a quick freeze on Mata's computer. League officials decided that did not affect the flow of gameplay, so they play through despite that happening. And we are, of course, now back onto the Rift here. And if you're just joining us, you missed an exciting first 10 minutes. Invictus Gaming came out swinging. Technically, SKT did get first blood, but IG answered back hard with kills in the mid lane, kills in the bottom lane, and a 9-minute Bloodthirster on a Draven.
Yeah, honestly, it was ridiculous. The bottom turret also taken pre-10 minutes there by Invictus Gaming. Every single plate going to the Draven. We saw him almost threatening to dive Faker's Aurelia under the tier 2, pre-9 minutes.
I got good news. The almosts are now definites because he added another BF sword on his next back. So at this point, you play internal mind games like how many whirling axes kill a Sona? Probably 2 or 3. This is insanely strong Draven, and while we've talked about the scaling of SKT's comp, when you have this much or 3, this is insanely strong Draven, and while we've talked about the scaling of SKT's comp, when you have this much or 3, this is insanely strong Draven, and while we've talked about the scale
about the long range of the Camille engage, and that stun duration is long enough for either the Draven or the Ryze to 100% to 0 any member of SK Telecom.
I ran the math, by the way. It would take 4 auto attacks. 4 empowered auto attacks. If Teddy didn't have armor, it would only be 2. But he's got 62 armor. It would just barely take 4 until more scaling comes in.
It's the little victories, I guess.
You'll survive 3 if you're full health. So Teddy, you got him. Knock him dead, buddy. Still, of course, an incredible start for IG. 6,500 gold up. Look at the leads right here. The Sight Stones starting to be completed pretty soon. And we can see now, as the rotation comes into mid lane, who's going to defend this turret? They're going to try, but they've got to be afraid.
We can call it defense technically, as they're trying to kill the minions, but JackeyLove's still getting the auto attacks on the turret.
Yep. Presses W, Bloodrush gets away from the stun, and the autos keep coming in. 227 attack damage on him. Just chunks these things down.
When we moused over the gold totals, there's a 4,800 gold lead just on the duo lane of the two teams.
I want to actually track this speed run, because this could be the fastest game of an international tournament, and it's between SK Telecom and Invictus Gaming. It's actually insane. There's an Infernal Drake that is coming to speed this game along even more. Currently, they're running straight down mid with the Rift Herald, though, and they're not stopping.
Looking at an inhibitor at 22 minutes. I have seen an SKT versus China game with inhibitors dying this early. It was SKT's first World Championship. Now look at round 2. Rookie flashing away. Terra Culti is on there, invulnerable, but is there any damage to be had? The Shy builds some space in the backline, and a single kill does come through, but it's answered by Draven. Looks for number 2, gets it onto him as well. It's a 2-for-2 fight overall. SKT get a couple of bits of gold here, but they were champions with only assists. They're not shutdowns. It's going to be a dead inhibitor at 13 minutes in with a 5-kill Draven just rolling in adoration and rolling in money.
Yeah, nice to see SK Telecom with some fight left in them, but there's just too much gold on the side of Invictus Gaming for them to win that fight. In the end, the inhibitor does go down 13 minutes into this game, and they can retreat to that Infernal Drake.
SKT tries to make it about 5v5, but IG know protects the VIP. If JackeyLove is free autoing and unimpeded, impossible to see them losing anything resembling a fight. They can even follow their control ward line down to the Infernal Drake spawn.
Well, SKT at least get to far mid lane. It's going to be hard to keep sieging through there, but IG can, of course, keep the pressure on. We can watch that fight. This TP flank results in a 2-for-2.
All right, Faker flanking around on the bottom side. Does go for Rookie. Him and Klid are able to get it with the knock up there very nicely. And he honestly almost gets Ning as well. But Balon's there able to peel, and JackeyLove has the axe in the air.
2-for-2 is way more than you'd expect with the gold lead that IG had put together. But JackeyLove takes the kill. They still get the objective they were setting up for in the mid lane inhibitor, and also backing away to the Infernal Drake. Mercurial Scimitar and another BF sword is completed. That's more lifesteal and even some more ability to persist through the fights. I see a hand signal there, Freak.
We're down to 3 auto attacks.
Oh,
800 damage per Q for JackeyLove. He does a lot. Sorry, 600 damage per auto attack. It is a lot of damage here. And Teddy, that's 3 autos and he's dead. So you've got to really respect this. Even Faker won't last too long either. As you can see, IG keep the pressure on. Mid will push by itself. Bot tier 2, the target.
It's not like there are only squishies as well on Invictus Gaming. They've got plenty of crowd control that they can use to protect JackeyLove. So this makes SK Telecom's job so difficult, and why they had to get that really good flank from Faker in order to even get some kills in that mid lane fight.
And scenarios like this are actually more tricky than you might realize at home, because at 14 minutes, who can deal with super minions pushing into the base? That's something that you don't normally have to think about So they're holding on to those minions pushing in mid, and they're trying to take a second inhibitor already.
Looking at the kick flash, puts them back over. They get the stun. They get a lot of damage. It's a single kill on the one side. Traded back now as Rookie dies yet again. But the rest of the squad could keep pushing. A good stun for Faker, though. Gets back out, buys some time. Will they find more and they're re-engaged? They've still got the cannon coming around the map. There's 4v3. They will push forward. And Jackie Love just lifesteal takes the entirety of SKT. Finds himself the second kill. Gets number 3 as well. And now look, 1, 2, and you know number 3 is gonna kill him, but he's chasing for a little bit more. There it is, the triple kill and as many auto attacks. 13-5 on 2 Nexus turret. And we're pre-16 minutes into this game. Invictus Gaming are going to finish it. Not since Bangkok Titans got crushed 4 years ago. Invictus Gaming smashed the world record. They smash SKT, and IG are 4-0.
15 minutes and 57 seconds was the last time that I saw before the Nexus exploded. Absolutely insane.
What an emphatic victory for IG. We talked about the storylines of Rookie versus Faker and Clid trying to profit after a great earlier game. But so quickly from the level 1 was Jackie Love the star of this game, stacking on BS sword after BS sword. Sona Tarek first appearance for Korea. Definitely not a successful one.
Well, if you wanted to get home early, IG did you a service there. What a game. Yep. I see 16:01 on the screen when the game freezes when the Nexus falls. Maybe that's the official time. Regardless, that's a record you might never ever see broken again. The old record was 5 minutes longer, and that was, I think it was SKT on the dealing side of that one. Receiving end here.
Yeah, I mean, unsuccessful, definitely an understatement for the first Sona Tarek of Korea. That was the most emphatic win that we have seen. However, that still leaves me curious of what a normal game or a best of 5 would look like between these two teams.
And you know, for an SKT fan, for a Korean fan, that's all you're left with. But the resounding question marks of being rolled over that easily, yes, you can try to hold on to that, but it feels like it might go through your hands very quickly.
And Invictus Gaming, though, 4-0, and it is still a double round robin. 6 games to play for the number 1 team right now. SKT at 2-2. A bit shaky, but they did play the top 2 teams so far, and there's more room to come back up. That rematch going to be exciting in a couple of days' time as well. But for more on today's action, let's head over to Quick Shot and the analyst and MSI Cooldown.
Thank you very much, and welcome to MSI Cooldown after day 2 of Group Time. Quick Shot joined by Raz and Azael. 16 minutes and 1 second, the quickest international game in our history as far as we've been tracking the stats. I mean, it's phenomenal, it's shocking, it's surprising. What else is it, Azael?
I mean, it would be insane if this was against Fengbu Buffalo. They just did that to SKT.
Yeah.
That was Faker. Right? Like, that is the most mind-blowing part about it to me. Not that this happened to a team, that this happened to the team. This is the 3-time world champions. This is the greatest player in League of Legends history, and they got absolutely trashed.
We thought this was going to be like top 2 of the tournament, like between Invictus Gaming and SKT. And I was really hyped just seeing Sona Tarek locked in because like SKT trying that out against the best of Invictus Gaming. Invictus Gaming have never went up against a Sona Tarek composition. This hasn't happened in the LPL.
No, it hasn't. And of course, it started with some craziness. This is, by the way, the quickest first blood in MSI history, actually beating the previous record, which was set during the play-ins earlier this event. It then goes to level 1 teleport. It then goes to Jackie Love getting what was an 8-minute bloodthirster. And 8 minutes later, the game is over. I mean, despite Faker trying, the game was lost around him.
Yeah, I mean, they just did such a good job. You saw Ning everywhere. It's the bot lane dive, then it's back to Faker a number of times, taking him down. And when Jackie Love's that far ahead on his Draven, we have all played that game in solo queue, where he gets the Bloodthirster that early, and you're like, great, I hit all my skills, I'm on top of him, and he's still at full health. Like, you just can't out-damage the healing.
SKT legitimately, after that point, did as well as they could. Irelia rotated bottom side when there's a second dive looming over, another huge building wave coming in mid lane, and then guess what? Invictus Gaming said, okay, we recognize you, but we still are going to bowl you right over.
So I have two questions that come from this. Now, you said you liked seeing SKT locking in the Sona Taric.
Yes.
I did not. I was sitting backstage, I saw a command, and I went, this isn't an LCK thing. This isn't something that I've seen a lot. This isn't something that I associate with the Korean players. So what is it that you did like? And obviously the game was lost, irrelevant of the champions, right? But like, why do you appreciate their attempt?
It's the same reason why we kind of talk about Invictus Gaming going out and like trying new things, being as bullish and aggressive as possible, is because this is you trying to learn as much and gather as much information going into the best of 5. A lot of eyes for us were going on to how valuable Sona Taric is, and it's going to work against, you know, the most aggressive team in the tournament. And while the answer is no, for me going into this tournament, I was like, well, for certain, SKT and Invictus Gaming, I'm almost guaranteeing them going into the best of 5. They need to learn these lessons before we find themselves going into IG. And so for now, we're saying that's insane. But if you're thinking in the future, then SKT is saying, okay, in drafting situations, we're just not going to go for it.
You know, my question is just like, I think I understand that, you know, the idea of like feeling out the meta, of trying different strategies, of doing all these things. What is the lesson you learn when you're seeing games like this against IG, where it's like, okay, well, they're just too good?
But then what do we learn? Because, Azale, you and I were sitting backstage and we're talking about our hopes for this matchup. You know, I personally wanted to see SKT look competitive against IG. I was hoping for IG, G2, SKT to be the top 3. After I've seen what IG have done to the entire competition and the plethora of styles they've employed, whether smart or not, I mean, what's your big takeaway as far as the leaders and the favorites for the tournament? Can anybody even contend IG?
I mean, I think not with the performances that we've seen in the first half of the round robin. I think we're going to have to see teams significantly step up to really be able to challenge them. Certainly, you know, in the G2 game, there were drafting issues. You know, that was kind of taken on the chest by Grabs. He was saying that was his fault. So we'll have to see, you know, if G2 can kind of match up better against them in the second round. Certainly, SKT fans are going to point to the Sona Taric and say, well, things went wrong from the very get-go. But I think regardless of the draft, teams are going to have to play at a higher level to really be able to match, because we have seen, you know, how many times, 5-6 times of Rookie versus Caps now. Rookie has slaughtered him every time. Rookie has just looked a cut above every mid laner, and the Shy, I would say, has looked a cut above every single top laner. And when the game is so centered around solo lanes and taking over the enemy jungle, at this point in the game, it feels like you have to play better than what you showed if anyone's going to challenge them.
That's why I would highlight that in my G2 matchup. I think if you can get past that mental block, prioritize the lane a little bit more, certainly you have Jankos who's going to be there by your side. I would expect that to be a much easier matchup if they prioritize that. So for me, I still have a lot of faith in G2 in that best of 5. I still think SKT can also handle them as well. So I think the tournament is still wide open when we get to that best of 5.
I mean, interesting when you think 2 of the biggest competitions to IG both went for bold decisions in draft that did not pay off. I want to go into that in a moment, because after today's results, Invictus Gaming, they're still undefeated in first place and on track to defend the LPL's titles of MSI and Worlds from 2018. Just behind them, G2 Esports, they went 2-0 to end the day. They're in second place and ahead of Team Liquid and SKT, who will be facing off tomorrow. Before we talk about tomorrow's schedule, let's stick with some of the results from today. Obviously, 6 hours ago, G2 versus TL for the first 20 minutes. I was nervous. I was anxious. Impact was playing that Aatrox, and there was trades, blows for blows, back and forth. And I got quite excited seeing what TL brought to the table during the early stages of the game.
I was really excited. I think for me, what I took away from this was G2 came in smart, understanding they can split the sides of the map and really challenge Impact to carry. And then you're right. I was also surprised that, you know, Impact came in strong. Teleport to the bottom side of the map to really get himself and secure that lead. But then, you know, side lanes started opening up. I really enjoyed how G2 always matched the Sylas there with the Akali. And so you got to see that play earlier.
But Raz, if you step back from the like minutiae of the game, what's your takeaway from Team Liquid, who was the underdog going into that matchup? And G2 maybe, because I thought they would have had a more convincing win, but you know, it was very competitive for a long time. Or maybe Azale's jumping in.
Go for it.
I mean, I'd still say it was very convincing. I think on the side of G2, yes, there were some bright spots certainly for TL. I think the way that, you know, Doublelift and CoreJJ were able to play in some of the mid game fights worked quite good. I think Impact both to the Shy and Wonder better today than people expected. Those certainly were positives. But let's be honest, I mean, Caps destroyed that game. He absolutely ran over that game. It was still, a 30 or so minute victory. There were perhaps opportunities, I think, for TL to maybe get back in it. But I think what is so impressive about G2 and what has really stood out to me is not just the way that they are able to individually outplay matchups and get advantages, but it's how they move those advantages around the map. When you look at G2 against SKT, we saw it against Khan with Wonder, the whole game plan, Caps and Jankos up to top lane, Jace is super fed. He's not just sitting in that lane, he's going by, he's taking that turret. Then he goes mid, he takes that turret. Same thing happened here with Caps. Yes, Impact is strong. Well, guess what? Salus is even stronger, and now he's in your lane. Now you're forced to ult. Now you're stuck under your turret. And they just move their advantages around the map so well, and that is what's most impressive about G2 for me.
In that specific instance, when Impact has 2 kills, then I look towards Xmithie and say, protect Impact and push him forward so he has an open lane to work with. Then he can rotate towards these plays. You need Impact working with you. And what we actually saw was a 3-man dive topside with, Xmithie working towards the bottom side of the map. If you have your top lane as your highest priority, you should be flexible enough to then play around it. But it seemed like Team Liquid, they're not used to playing through Impact when he's strong, and you got to see that.
Yeah, definitely the case. And I mean, I think when you look at some of the stats that Impact has put on the table, he was one of the big question marks coming into the tournament. And after 2 days of gameplay, my eyes are going to turn a little bit more towards Xmithie and some of the decision making. He's been caught out a lot, and it's put Team Liquid further behind than maybe it needed to. But these are problems that can be resolved, day to day.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he had a very poor showing today, especially I think the Hecarim game was pretty egregious, giving over those early kills. Being spotted, he tries to gank mid lane, then he goes to Scuttle. They know exactly where he is. Mid is pushing for both, mid is pushing for IG, bot is pushing for IG. Of course, you're going to get collapsed on and actually taken down. So that one was pretty bad. I will say that they did pick scaling jungle matchups in both games, and he was kind of on the weaker end of that. So maybe some of the adjustment will be, hey, I can't actually get away with this against these junglers. They are too good to be playing Sejuani and Olaf. They're too good to be playing Hecarim and Rek'Sai. And maybe TL will put more priority on getting a stronger early game jungler.
That's why I have some faith in them going into the second phase of the tournament, where I still think that looking in video review sessions of Xmithie, you could definitely find points that you can get better. In that Hecarim game, I like the Hecarim pick. Like, personally, I think you can do a lot more with it if you was able to just hard clear towards, like, Krugs and topside. Like, that is an opening for you. Or if the team decision on that one, because ultimately it's like, how do they want to perform in the tournament? Does Xmithie on carry junglers, or at least better matchups, then playing through Jensen, is that a better strategy? Personally, I think that would be the case. Like, Jensen is playing so well in this tournament, it's better to bring him up.
Well, let's take a look tomorrow, because you mentioned the second half of this tournament. We'll see whether or not Team Liquid can bounce back tomorrow. They'll close out the first round robin by taking on SK Telecom, who are both sitting at 2-2. Then later in the day, we'll play Flash Wolves Invictus Gaming, SKT G2. Let's start, first of all, the two teams that are 2-2. We've seen some shaky performances from both SK Telecom and Team Liquid, but if there were ever a time to surprise SKT after a 16-minute defeat at the hands of IG, surely there's some advantages of Team Liquid to capitalize on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's completely fair to say TL has played better than SKT in this tournament. I think that TL has actually been more competitive in both their losses than SKT were. They were absolutely dominated by both G2 and IG. Yes, TL handily lost those, but they were more competitive games at least. It was not so one-sided. And they were quite clean against both Flash Wolves and PvB. They play a similar style, and if SKT is not playing, up to their kind of lofty standards that we're used to, they are certainly approachable for TL. TL can take this team, I think, in a late game.
I would push that in the sense that for SKT, when I saw both, like, two of the games where they were falling. The first game of the tournament when they went up against G2, I think that was, we all talked about how a drafting decision that Klid, while he played well in the early portions of the game, the rest is like, there's not much I can do here. While in this same situation, it seems like when they were pushed to the wall with the Taric and Sona, they literally had no wave clearing options, no damage options. The Sona is like, I just keep going into the mana pool while Draven's just going wild. So I think I would still say that SKT is certainly the stronger team going into that matchup, but both teams have breathing room. Both teams have a very similar style of being able to go for a more elongated game, so you ain't going anywhere near a 15-minute extravaganza.
Give me some closing thoughts before we wrap out the day. What does Team Liquid have to do to beat SKT in your mind?
To me, I want to see Olaf or early game jungler specifically on Xmithie, and for him to continue to play through mid. If Jensen's going to continue to perform, then you have yourself a bridge to the late game so Doublelift can come in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of more of the same sort of style that we've seen from TL. They are a similar style team. I want to see them having a defensive pick generally for impact. I think as long as he's drawing pressure and surviving in lane, he does best when he is spending his resources down to the bottom side and helping there. I think as long as Jensen is in a favorable matchup against Faker and you have some sort of strong early game jungler, so it can't just be your lanes getting run over when you can't compete in 2v2, that is certainly a way in for TL. And to your point, I mean, I think SKT is the better team, but I do think in this tournament, SKT has played worse. And it is only 4 games thus far, and we've seen Korean teams have weak group stages and then come over and run over a tournament. SKT, if I recall correctly,
feels different this time.
Finished 4th in the past at an MSI, then went on to win it. And I do agree it feels different because we're coming off of Worlds in which everyone's like, yeah, well, best of 5s are coming. They're still going to slam us.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even get to semis, right? so it feels like for the first time, it's more real and people give more credence to when the Korean teams are struggling and having issues. You're like, ooh, well, maybe they don't.
It's also, it just feels weird that the team that is absolutely dominating right now does it so frivolously and so carelessly. When you think Invictus Gaming, undefeated, gave 50 kills in a 33-minute game to Fongvu Buffalo, just took down SK Telecom, the 3-time world champions, in 16 minutes. And that's less than 24 hours apart.
Yeah, you're going to be going up against a different beast when you go into best of 5s. Like when I watch Invictus Gaming, domestically in their best of 3s in the regular season, you're like, I have no faith in this. You're like EDG is better. TOP, you're willing to throw it all away just simply because when they go up against these different teams, they're willing to take every fight. Willing to throw all their brain away in a sense, but then they go into the best of 5s,
but they still got the hands.
They got the hands. The hands are still moving. But then you go into these best of 5s, and they play so intelligently. Their vision control spikes up. Baolan and Ning move so well together, so they still have the mechanics, quite obviously, but it seems like they really are honed in and focused.
Well, I can't wait to see who can contest Invictus, and I certainly hope somebody rises to the challenge. For myself, the casters, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more of MSI 2019.
G2 1-1 after a tough first day. Will the scores even up, or can TL pull ahead with a 3-0 start to the group stage? Caps going forward. Jankos is here as well. Does manage to land the stun in the Shroud. Invisible, but I don't think it's going to be long enough. The flash out clutch from Jensen. Jankos wants it. He's going for it. The axe will come through.
That was pretty crazy of you, but good job.
That's going to find the kill here. One with a clean flash to try to make it to safety. The healing now coming in. Impact has to be careful. Wonder, does he have the time to wait this one out? The kill going through for Impact.
Look at Caps going in.
Hungry for blood, using everything to go and stealing the killing with it.
Back to Lysandra.
Missing a third proc to the Dark Blade. Impact running out of time here. Caps going to try to take him down. Perfectly timed. Caps now unstoppable.
Caps running over this game.
I can also tap on soon. Oh my god. Oh my god. No way. They actually broke in the shine. Yeah. They actually are, yeah. Oh my god.
They find the ace. G2 3-1 to close out day 2. Can he find the second? It's close. The health bar's below 100 each, but he's got to watch out for the Prey Seeker. Another grasp to meet it to grab both kills. This coming around as well. Elise might come in for a little bit more. Looks like damage, can't find that just yet, but here comes the Rek'Sai. Big damage for Clid on a rampage now. He's a monster. Another Infernal spawning. Oh! And now you got more problems. And Faker's on the board of his first kill. Looking for the second, flashing over the root.
Now you see if they can find the tower dive as well. Ignite goes down immediately. They're finding the focus right in. Jackulov going to take down Double Up. Ning going to go under and come back up. Resetting the tower aggro beautifully. Rookie is in the midst of the fight. They have to be careful. Double Up trying to make it a safety. Do the QSS, but Rookie got the kill. That's going to be it. It's going to be a clean sweep for IG as they cut through the remaining members of Liquid.
There might be a re-engage already, a stun, and the fight has continued. We're doing it! Damage output, Rookie's already dead!
They're really trying to take advantage of this matchup.
Oh, stun's down for Faker to land the stun, though, for Ning is plenty of damage in a Rune Prison! Regardless, they're gonna have the root, they're gonna have plenty of damage, but you've got Clid here, gonna find some damage. Will they find more in the re-engage? They've still got the cannon coming around the map, and Jackie left his lifesteal tank the entirety of SKT. Finds himself the second kill. Invictus Gaming smashed the world record! They smash SKT!